highly secretive campaign to obtain a nuclear arsenal. Unfortunately, Venunu made the mistake of showing proof of these nuclear weapons to Robert Maxwell, hoping the story would be published in the Daily Mirror and blow the lid on the whole operation. Unfortunately, though, that didn't happen.
Alright, we're already deep into the iceberg here. I'm not sure I understand. So you got a guy that changed his name to Maxwell, you know, out of a understandable, you know, concern about anti-Semitism and persecution, and then at some point, you know, was inspired by Israel to the point where he wanted to get involved. Yeah, Llama Lover, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. You just got jellyfished, and that's a good thing.
Levels below ground, the Israelis had built a plutonium reprocessing plant.
Oh my God! Yeah. Okay, so Israel's never confirmed that they have the bomb, but it's kind of, I guess, common knowledge at this point that they do. But when did they get it? Like in the 60s?
A nuclear bomb factory. To this day, Israel still refuses to acknowledge its existence.
As The Independent reported in 2004, Maxwell turned around and sent these photos to the Israeli embassy in London to, quote, supposedly confirm whether or not the story was true. It seems likely that Maxwell had motives other than journalistic integrity in this betrayal of Venunu. As written by Preston, this resulted in Venunu being, quote, snatched off a street in Rome by Mossad agents.
Wait, so Venunu gave him the information, then he went public with it? And the Mossad traced it back to Venunu and took him prisoner?
Injected with a paralyzing drug, smuggled on board a ship, and taken back to an Israeli prison, where he spent the next 12 years of his life in solitary confinement, subjected to what Venunu...
They could be the US's bombs? Well, like, the real question, this is part of the reason I asked when did they get them, right? Because Israel, throughout its history, has had various, you know, alliances to world powers. In fact, during the Cold War, at you know, different times they were, you know, they had relations with the former Soviet, well, you know, it was the Soviet Union at the time, right? And as well as with the United States. So, you know, as far as the nukes being under U.S. control, I guess that would kind of depend on, you know, what time you're talking about.
Who called it cruel and barbaric punishment. So thanks, Robert. Always looking out for the working man, huh? These allegations were brought to the attention of Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative journalist Seymour Hersh, the man who exposed the My Lai massacre in 1970. Went on to publish the Venunu story in his 1991 book, The Samson Option. While
Venunu wanted him to buy instead, he just turned the guy in.
Maxwell and the Mirror sued Hersh for...
Okay, I'm not. Let me rewind that.
any useful information that came his way to Mossad. As written by Preston and originally alleged by arms dealer and ex-Israeli intelligence agent Ari Ben Menashe, who has not only repeatedly accused Maxwell of being a Mossad agent, but also blamed the billionaire for the imprisonment of Israeli nuclear technician Mordecai Venunu, who, in September of 1986, threatened to blow the whistle on Israel's highly secretive campaign to obtain a
Venunu wanted to go public with this then.
Nuclear arsenal. Unfortunately, Venunu made the mistake of showing proof of these nuclear weapons to Robert Maxwell, hoping the story would be published in the Daily Mirror and blow the lid on the whole operation. Unfortunately, though, that didn't happen.
6 levels below ground, the Israelis had built a plutonium reprocessing plant, a nuclear bomb factory. To this day, Israel still refuses to acknowledge its existence.
As The Independent reported in 2004, Maxwell turned around and sent these photos to the Israeli embassy in London to, quote, supposedly confirm whether or not the story was true. It seems likely that Maxwell had motives other than journalistic integrity in this betrayal of Venunu. As written by Preston, this resulted in Venunu being, quote, snatched off a street in Rome by Mossad agents, injected with a paralyzing drug, smuggled on board a ship, and taken back to an Israeli prison, where he spent the next 12 years of his life in solitary confinement, subjected to what Venunu called cruel and barbaric punishment. So thanks, Robert. Always looking out for the working man, huh? These allegations were brought to the attention of Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative journalist Seymour Hersh, the man who exposed the My Lai massacre in 1970, went on to publish the Venunu story in his 1991 book, The Samson Option, while Maxwell and the Mirror sued Hersh for...
I think we all got what the, who made this video? This is a Jabri. This is Jay Aubrey. Jabri's video. This is kind of an old video. It's been out for a year, but I figured since Ghislaine Maxwell is being talked about again, potentially receiving a either a pardon or a commutation for the Trump administration in exchange for who knows what, chat. And the fear is that she's going to that she's gonna essentially you know, exonerate Trump or give testimony to downplay Trump's culpability and involvement with Epstein in exchange for a commutation or a pardon. So we're kind of going back in time because there's a lot of lore around Ghislaine Maxwell, and I've never known which of it is real, which of it is fake. There's always this specter of Mossad sort of hanging around in the background, and so I thought we'd take a look at try to see like what's confirmed and what's speculation, what's alleged, etc.
libel, Hersh was eventually issued an apology from the paper and received substantial damages, which effectively ended the suit in 1994, according to the New York Times. The Mirror also did run a story about Venunu shortly after he was imprisoned, but it was one where they cast complete doubt on his testimony and slandered his character up and down. He couldn't exactly defend himself because, well, he was in jail being tortured by the government, so Maxwell made a lot of enemies during
Okay, that's a good one, Victor Olive. The only files that Trump is releasing, files like Ghislaine Maxwell. Yeah. And it wouldn't be the first time, would it? Weren't there some people in that he pardoned for January 6th that were later accused or convicted of diddling? Imagine him being a rich diddler, getting paid by the state to lie about who you diddled with. So so they can get away with it. What a world. Yeah. It's a strange place, isn't it? I mean, the world is a strange, truly strange place.
his lifetime, though it was Rupert Murdoch who Maxwell became particularly obsessed with. Ironically, it was Maxwell's incessant urge to compete and exist in the same arena as Murdoch that, as Preston put it, led to his physical and mental disintegration, his downfall, and ultimately his death. In his attempts to earn Murdoch's respect, Maxwell ended up acquiring Macmillan for way more than what the company's own directors thought it was
Sounds like an Elon Musk move.
worth, borrowing from over 40 separate banks just so the transaction could be possible. Pulling a bit of an Elon there, I guess you could say. Adding to the long list of financial missteps Maxwell made throughout the course of his career. Before long, his debts had reportedly exceeded $1 billion. The banks he had borrowed from wanted their money back, and as a result, Maxwell began siphoning cash from the pension funds of his Pergamon employees. Some 763 million pounds were reported to be missing from his many companies by 1991, which included over 400 million pounds that he stole from pensions alone. Maxwell, if you can't tell by now, was kinda in some deep shit.
Robert Maxwell inhabited a realm of lies. Many people knew this, but kept their counsel. Cowardice, or respect for the law of libel, to which Maxwell would resort with apparently infinite funds, to silence those who would scrutinize his secret.
In November of that year,
Chill Goblin did a Yeah. If anybody, I mean, like, I don't want to. I'm not going to simulcast a stream that's currently going on, but yeah, I'd be willing to take a look at some of the old Chill Goblin stuff, or if the stream is done by now. Yeah, friend of the VOD, Chill Goblin, actually.
Year, just weeks before this revelation became public, Maxwell boarded the Lady Ghislaine for what was supposed to be a few.
It's kind of weird, chat. Like how many like larger YouTubers like low key watch my channel, and I'm always surprised, right? Like I remember going into things I care about stream one day, and just trying to hang out and stuff, and like as soon as I say something in chat, like Thika like is like, oh hey, no comment chick, I love your live streams. Like, wow, thank you.
Up here, but now there are freaking communist invading radicals.
Thank you.
Few days of rest and recreation on the high seas. Crew members recall his unusually cheerful demeanor, despite being faced with a mountain of legal issues back at home. The banks, the pensioners, and the authorities were all breathing down his neck. His son, Kevin, recalled a tense phone call with his father on the evening of November 4th, in which an argument erupted between the two men over how a meeting with the Bank of England was to be handled the following day. The knives couldn't have been closer to the mogul's throat by the morning of November 5th, when Kevin attempted to phone his father at 6 o'clock.
The 5th of November? Remember?
a.m. There was no answer.
Wait, that's the thing, right?
Then at 10 a.m., a New York banker asked to be put through to Maxwell's stateroom. Again, no answer. At 11, a vice chairman of Macmillan called. For the third time that morning, there was no answer. At first, the crew assumed he was still asleep, until they realized Maxwell wasn't in his bedroom. In fact, he hadn't been spotted anywhere all morning. Not in the kitchen or the living area or any of the decks. It was here that the Lady Ghislaine's crew came to the slow and painful realization that Robert Maxwell was no longer on board the ship. A search party immediately sprung into action, scanning for any possible sign of the 68-year-old billionaire in surrounding waters. Unfortunately, the Lady Ghislaine had already docked at the...
Wait, Maxwell dying was a big story just because he was like he was known publicly as a like a newspaper mogul, like a media mogul, basically. Or did people suspect, his involvement with intelligence by this time?
Island of Tenerife, Spain, 2 hours before Maxwell was even reported missing, according to this Guardian article from the day after it happened. It stated that Maxwell's body was soon found floating face-up naked, over 100 miles away from the Lady Ghislaine's scheduled route. When asked how the body could possibly get all the way over there...
Is it normal for a body to be found face-up? Don't most drowning victims, am I wrong, Chad? Aren't most drowning victims like found face down? How weird is that?
The island's civil governor answered, "That's a good question." After what I can only imagine was a strenuous experience trying to load Maxwell's corpse onto a Spanish helicopter, 3 pathologists tasked with carrying out an autopsy were all unable to fully agree on Maxwell's exact cause of death. This 2001 article from The Independent explains that the lack of water found in Maxwell's lungs led one British pathologist to rule out drowning, with a different Israeli doctor concluding the following day that no, actually he did drown, and also he suffered a heart attack. The third doctor agreed with the drowning, but argued Maxwell did not have a heart attack.
Is there a reason that I'm still trying to figure out? Like, did they tell us? I'm just wondering, are they in the Mediterranean at this point? Is there a reason that he's being examined by? I'm guessing it must have been he had Israeli citizenship. I don't think that Jabri mentioned that, but I'm trying to fill in the blanks here, right? Because otherwise, not an expert on floating bodies. Okay, well, call me back after you've rubbed out your enemies, and you can tell me. He was a media baron who revolutionized science publishing. It wasn't until his death that people realized he was a crook embezzling money. Yeah, that's what they talked about him, doing that. Yeah, sleeping with the fishes.
So which was it? Well, I'm sorry to say that to this day, nobody fucking knows. What's weird is that Maxwell's body was still soft to the touch by the time his wife got to review it, noting it was weird that rigor mortis hadn't set in. After supposedly floating aimlessly through the ocean for upwards of 12 hours, Mirror reporter John Jackson, who also reviewed the body, remarked that Maxwell looked to be in perfect condition. No discoloration or wrinkles to be seen. Not even
Okay, that's super weird. Wait, how does this work? You're in the ocean. It's a... Yeah, no, you'd be super wrinkly, wouldn't you? Oh my god, I'm trying to remember how this works, Chad. It's like an osmosis question, isn't it? Like the ocean water is hypertonic compared to the fluid in your cells, and so the water goes from your cells out into the ocean, so you'd be kind of dehydrated by that. Does that make you more or less wrinkly? Whoever found him killed him or was given him. I mean, yeah, there's some real strange aspects to this story.
even his hair dye was running. Preston also mentioned that a test of Maxwell's bone marrow found no trace of diatoms, microscopic algae commonly found in drowning victims, in neither his lungs nor the surrounding three.
Yeah, Vinyl Pill is saying, yeah, usually down, usually be found face down. It's a little strange.
Liters of seawater that Maxwell's body had been found in. So, did he die before landing in the water? The official ruling is that he accidentally plunged over the side of his yacht either before or after suffering a heart attack. But that ruling hasn't been enough to convince everyone. Some, like former Mirror editor Roy Greenslade, are of the mind that Maxwell understood how dire and hopeless his situation was, and decided to deliberately end it all before he could face repercussions, while others, specifically those in the Maxwell family, have argued their father would never commit suicide. It just wasn't in his makeup or mentality. Elizabeth rejecting the suicide notion on multiple occasions, telling the Mirror I toyed with every possibility, that he had been pushed in by someone planted there. There were so many people who hated him. He had many threats. Many people would be delighted to bump him off. Later, doubling down in her memoir, I said at the time,
and look, this is the problem with Epstein too, is that like there's a ton of people ostensibly that would want him dead, that would want him specifically like not to testify, right? In a situation where he is he's being prosecuted and this time he's not going to get a sweetheart deal. So that makes it actually makes it harder to figure out potentially who's responsible, just because there's there's so many suspects.
And will never alter my view that Bob did not commit suicide. The Mirror's senior photographer Ken Lennox told The Guardian that he used to get up at night and pee over the stern of the ship. Everybody knew this, and he weighed about 22 stone or 300 pounds at this time. The railings were wire, so I think he lost his balance because he was very top heavy. He was Teflon, man. I don't think he committed suicide. But as Preston pointed out, Maxwell's cabin door had been locked from the inside, with the main door leading out to the deck also being locked the night he fell overboard. The key was never recovered.
Wait, okay, so his door is locked, but it's locked from the inside. I guess if there's a window in his cabin, did he jump out? Yeah, it doesn't sound like anyone saw him jump off the boat or be thrown or murdered or anything like that. Wait, let's go. Like I feel like there's something there. Chat, this is making me want to play detective. And I realize this is like a, if this is a murder case, it's, I don't know, what, 50 years old at this point? When did this happen? When did Maxwell die?
300 pounds at this time. The railings were wire, so I think he lost his balance because he was very top heavy. He was Teflon, man. I don't think he committed suicide, but his...
Okay.
Preston pointed out, Maxwell's cabin door had been locked from the inside, with the main door leading out to the deck also being locked the night he fell overboard.
Okay, so there's like a, there's the cabins, and they each have doors that can lock, and then there's a main door leading from, I guess, that part of the ship to the outside of the ship, And both of these are locked from the inside at the time that when they're investigating his death.
The key was never recovered, which, if you ask me, points to something more than just an accident.
Yeah, that is weird. Okay, so the key is never recovered, meaning that so it's locked from the inside, and the key is never recovered, meaning the key is in the ocean, or if he was murdered, the murderer maybe absconded with the key. Although you'd think that they'd want to just put it in his room somewhere to make it less suspicious. But yeah, whoever was doing this does not seem to have been covering their tracks, right? The suspiciousness of his death, doesn't indicate like a high level perfect hitman.
If you ask Ghislaine Maxwell, her father was murdered. Just like Ghislaine's future boyfriend, there are plenty of conflicting theories when it comes to her father's possible murder. The most prominent one implicating Mossad, who some say opted to assassinate their alleged one-time associate, fearful that his activities on their behalf were about to be exposed, as The Independent put it. Perhaps his swath of financial crimes had finally made him too much of a liability to keep around any longer. In their book, The Assassination of Robert Maxwell, authors Gordon Thomas and Martin Dillon present the theory that Maxwell had asked the state of Israel to cover his debts to the tune of hundreds of millions. Refusing to do so, they worried Maxwell would retaliate by going public about their relationship, and therefore took him out with a nerve agent before he got the chance to talk, at least according to Thomas and Dillon. But if they had in fact murdered Maxwell, this didn't stop them from putting together what was basically a state-sponsored funeral for him in Israel just a few days later, attended by high-ranking members of the Israeli intelligence community, as well as both the president and Prime Minister of Israel, the latter of whom thanked Maxwell for being an enthusiastic friend of Israel, adding that I knew him, especially in recent times, as someone who took great interest in the Israeli economy, invested money in Israel, and offered to put his wide contacts in the international arena at Israel's service. He has done more for Israel than can today be said. Back at home, Pergamon was going up in flames. Both Ian and Kevin Maxwell were arrested for their alleged involvement in their father's financial schemes, though their acquittal didn't slow the company they inherited from suffering a massive collapse almost immediately after, with Robert's death also forcing his widow into a state of financial ruin. She lost everything she once owned and was supported by her children for the rest of her life. Robert Maxwell's public reputation was forever tarnished. For example, here's what the Mirror looked like in the immediate aftermath of his death versus the headline they ran just a couple weeks later. And in case you were wondering what happened to that infamous yacht, the Lady Ghislaine was eventually passed off to a Saudi Arabian lawyer before finally ending up in the hands of one Anna Murdoch, the former wife of Maxwell's longtime personal rival, Rupert Murdoch.
Sorry, the boat ended up in Murdoch's wife's possession?
Another weird connection I found pertaining to that yacht is
God, you look, man in a red hat looking like with a body like that, if you didn't, like, it'd be really easy to mix him up with Trump without seeing his face. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got Donald Trump's physique.
that it was originally constructed for a businessman by the name of Imad Khashoggi, which I heard and thought, that name sounds kind of familiar. A 5-second Google search found that Imad is the nephew of a Saudi Arabian arms dealer you may remember, Adnan Khashoggi.
Wait, when did all this happen? Okay, I gotta look this up. When did Maxwell die? That's what's confusing me. I was thinking it was like 50 years ago. Robert Maxwell. 1991. Okay, so more like 35 years ago is when this happened. So the nephew of Jamal Khashoggi, if you don't remember, this is the wait, he was like a journalist. I'm trying to remember. Okay, I'm gonna have to look this up again. He goes to like the Saudi embassy, right? And he doesn't come back, and it turns out that he is he has been cut up into little pieces and removed from the embassy, and those pieces of the man taken back to Saudi Arabia. Let me see. Jamal, 2 A's, Khashoggi, a 1 A. Okay. Assassination. There we go. Entered the Saudi Arabian consulate at Istanbul. Okay, so he's in Turkey. He goes to the consulate. I'm trying to remember how they lured him there. There was something that they like told him to come there, but I'm trying to remember how they got him, because he wasn't. I don't think he was exactly friendly with the Saudis at the time, but I'm trying to remember. There's some reason that he needed to go there. And yeah, he was murdered and dismembered with a bone saw. Saudi Arabia and Turkish officials inspected the consulate on the 15th of October, during which Turkish officials found evidence that Khashoggi had been killed and that chemical experts had tampered with the evidence. In other words, they tried to dissolve his body, Breaking Bad style. That did not end up working, since this isn't a television show. And as a alternative, they cut him up with a bone saw and took him out in like bags.
An alleged client of the central character tying this whole enigmatic web together.
Oh, he was getting married and he needed, yeah, okay, because he's a Saudi citizen, at least originally. So he needed something from the consulate. Oh my God, chat. Oh my God.
Your right hand, please.
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, I do.
Miami Herald journalist Julie K. Brown wrote in her book Perversion of Justice of a time Elizabeth Maxwell made the desperate attempt to contact an unnamed friend of the family shortly after she lost it all. She described him as an American businessman Robert had met during his short stint in charge of the New York Daily News. She thanked this white knight for allowing her a place to stay after her husband's death, reflecting on the unfailing generosity he continued to show her in the coming years. Then, on November 24th, 1991, not even a month after Robert's death, the YIVO Institute for Jewish Research put together an event dedicated to the late tycoon's memory. Both Elizabeth and Ghislaine Maxwell sat in attendance that night. Pictured next to them at New York's Plaza Hotel was a man not yet known to the general public. His name was Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh my God, general public, you just got a shout out. You just got a shout out, GP. We have a chatter named General Public, so.
He covered his face with a mask and dark sunglasses, but this is Juan Alessi, who managed Jeffrey Epstein's Florida mansion for 12 years and who says that Ghislaine Maxwell was at the center of everything that happened there.
Did Miss Maxwell instruct you to pick up the young girls?
Comment! He had no comment last night, but Alessi had earlier told a Manhattan court that the sprawling home in Palm Beach was run by him, but Maxwell made clear that she was the boss. He testified, "From the day she took over, she mentioned to me that she would be the lady of the house."
In 2002, our old pal Stephen Hoffenberg was still in the middle of serving a jail sentence for his role in the Towers fight.
This is wild, chat. We're fully halfway through the video, and we just now got to Epstein. We haven't. This is a video about Ghislaine Maxwell, and we haven't even. We've just been catching up the lore on the lore of her father, right? Who is international man of mystery. One part L. Ron Hubbard, one part James Bond. Just a man with a lot of strange things going on in his life.
Financial Ponzi scheme when he spoke to journalist Vicky Ward on the record. According to him, alleged arms dealer Douglas Leese had introduced Jeffrey Epstein to a whole swath of shady characters, which included the late Robert Maxwell. When pressed on the matter, Epstein downplayed his relationships to Leese and claimed to have never even met Maxwell, though Ward admits she did not pursue the notion that he had. Even though Ghislaine was already a known associate of Epstein at the time she wrote
What is that noise? Oh my God, Joel Severud, thank you for the 5 gifted that I will now read out. Chat, we got a hype train situation going on Twitch. So if you're watching me on Twitch, just know that you got 4 minutes and 40 seconds to try to earn extra emotes. So any kind of sub, any kind of gifted sub, or any kind of cheer of bits will make that hype meter go up. And if it gets up to 100%, then you get extra emotes and the time reset. So if you've got any, if you've been thinking about subbing to the channel, you've been thinking about if you got money in your pocket that's burning a hole and you want to give some gift subs, or if you just want to throw some bits my way, now is the time to do it, because you will actually get something from it, which is some extra emotes. So let's see. Signrise, you just got jellyfished. Tavert O, you just got jellyfished. Fuzzy Simba, you just got jellyfished. Witchery Rocky, you just got jellyfished. And Dr. Draith, you just got jellyfished, and that's a good thing.
Wrote the article. Hoffenberg also told Ward that Epstein was known to run in various intelligence circles, with several anonymous sources agreeing that Epstein was known to be a hyper-fixer, someone who could act as a go-between for international governments and cultures, similar to what Robert Maxwell was always thought to be doing. In fact, Ari bin Menashe—
That's such a weird phrase, and I wish I knew more about this, but yeah, fixers usually, I am used to hearing about them in the context of United States electoral politics. Let's see, who have I heard called a fixer? Roger Stone has been referred to, for instance, as a fixer for Trump. And I'm trying to remember who's Bill Clinton's guy? Oh my God, I can't remember. Yo, Joel Siverud, thank you for the gifted sub to Markavius. Markavius, you just got weaseled. I'm sorry, you just got jellyfished, and that's a good thing. What is yeah, so like the idea of a fixer is, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like somebody who goes in and like takes care of business for a candidate. Like for instance, I think with Bill Clinton, his fixers would try to talk to the women that were coming out with allegations about infidelity or worse towards him, and try to make them go away, try to make the problem go away. And Bill Clinton's campaign would call these events bimbo eruptions, as if Bill Clinton was being persecuted by bimbos. But in reality, you know, we all know that he was just kind of, you know, there's a reason that so many bimbos have stories about that man. The guy who died mysteriously for Clinton was Vince Foster. I don't think so. I think Vince Foster was like a low-level employee in the White House, right? I don't think Vince Foster was like a fixer. I'm trying to remember who I've heard of referred to. Like it's, the idea is that like every candidate has one of these dudes. They'll kind of go behind the scenes. They'll make you an offer you can't refuse. I feel like I should know more about this term, because yeah, it does come up a lot. Anita Dunn would be a Biden fixer, I guess. I mean, it sounds like the name is very sus, right? Because when you're talking about a politician and you say a fixer, it sounds like the person that's going to fix the election for you. But I don't think that's specifically what that refers to. Lawyer fixers work in complex litigation. They're brought in to clean up messes, manage crises, navigate difficult situations. So it's literally a fixer. If the situation is broken, somebody comes in and fixes it. So it doesn't necessarily mean fixes the election, but you know, it fixes a crisis in the campaign, I guess, is what that's referring to. Epstein was an international influencer, king of blackmail. Maxwell was his madam. Yeah, she was like the not so erudite to his destiny. Yeah, exactly. Like PR is also fixers. Could you put my 6 subs towards Destiny losing orbiters? Absolutely, Joel. Thank you.
She even claims to have been Maxwell.
Was it Vernon Jordan? Would that have been Clinton's guy? Like I know, I'm aware of the concept of a fixer. The hype train is coming in at level 2. That's a level 2 hype train, and I think you're gonna get some emotes from that. Wait, does it let me show which emotes? So, um, let's make this. Speaking of fixers, I need a fixer for my the goal here, but I'll have to do it myself. I am my own fixer, chat. I think we're at 62. Oh my god. We're at 62 out of 100 on the bonus goal. Oh my god, I missed my chance to post the emote. Has anybody in chat posted the emotes that we just got? Okay, I can't see it anymore. But yeah, I will add those 6 subs to Destiny, Losing Orbiters, to Hassan. 30, not 30, 39. All right, so that's the new, that's in the lead now, I think. Remember, when you donate, you can let me know, just like Joel did in chat, which are the topics on the bonus content that you want to see as, like, right, if we hit 100 on the meter, which we're at 62 right now, I'll stick around and cover another topic. If we hit, 200, obviously, I cover 2 topics, but if you want to put your money where your mouth is and add some percentage to the topic of your choice, maybe push it over the line, you can do that just by letting me know when you donate, like which of these topics: Destiny, Losing Orbiters to Hassan, what's going on in Thailand and Cambodia, Asmongold turning on Trump, or Vosh grooming allegations. Which of these stories sound like something that you want to see me cover after I cover this? And I will turn your donation into a percentage, add it to the topic of your choice, and maybe potentially even push it over the line and help it win.
As a handler when he worked for Mossad, while Israel, on the other hand, denies any and all ties to him. At the end of the day, none of this has been officially confirmed, and the 3-letter agencies who may know something have all repeatedly refused to cooperate with journalists, adding another layer.
The term fixer is used in tons of industries, but they all do the same thing, essentially. Yeah, it's like a very general term in terms of what they do. Like, just any situation that's fucked up, particularly involving PR, these guys go in and they fix it. And it's very much like behind the scenes kind of stuff, like Roy Cohn.
Of confusion to this already frustrating story. But this hasn't stopped any speculation, as Ward described the most popular theory to be that Maxwell had introduced Epstein to international governments, who then used him as a vehicle to collect intelligence, before he, as Hoffenberg asserts, took it a step further and started recording powerful people committing unspeakable acts. Hoffenberg even told The Sun that—
oh god, this is an interesting theory. So the theory would be that none of the intelligence agency that Epstein was working with, none of them were telling him to blackmail major world figures. He just maybe he got into that world and figured out how he could. It sounds like he kind of just went into business for himself. You've had to catch up on the last couple of streams via VOD. Yeah, it is nice to watch a live stream.
That Epstein, his former business partner, would brag about this, explaining that, for instance, Prince Andrew had a weakness for the girls and fast life. Epstein provided that fantasy. Andrew would then give intelligence that Epstein would give to Israel. This was happening when I was working—
Wait, what? Prince Andrew, okay, had a weakness for the girls and the fast life. Epstein would provide that fantasy. Andrew would give them intelligence that Epstein would give to Israel. So this was a way happening when I was working for Israel. This was a way for Israel to get inside information on the British government. Although that's, I don't know. I guess I don't know any. That's another area I don't know anything about. The royalty in the British government, right? Like how much kind of cloak and dagger secret intel are they in on? I mean, I know that they're technically ceremonial, but what, they probably get like security meetings and stuff like that.
with Epstein. They created the plan of installing the honeypot cameras and had taken over the house in Manhattan to blackmail the politicians. He then took over the house in Florida and put in cameras.
He created the plan of installing honeypot cameras, had taken over the house in Manhattan, Les Wexner. That's a name that keeps on coming up. Given to him by billionaire client. Okay, so Les Wexner gave him the cameras to blackmail politician. He then took over the house in Florida and put in cameras. The cameras were to record our words. It wasn't just about gathering intelligence, but compromising the politicians.
The cameras were to record rapes. It wasn't just about gathering intelligence, but compromising the politicians. A highly bold assertion that, at this rate, may just remain unconfirmed forever. After her father's death stripped her of the lavish, elite status she had enjoyed her entire life, The Guardian reported that by 1992, Ghislaine was spending less time in Britain in exchange for a new life in America, with millionaire Jeffrey Epstein, helping to manage his various properties in Manhattan and Palm Beach before becoming his top recruiter of young girls by at least 1994. For many years, the exact nature of their relationship was pretty unknown, other than Epstein once describing her as his best friend in Vicky Ward's 2003 Vanity Fair article, with Ward adding she seems to organize much of his life. In 2021, an entire cache of new photos came to light, depicting the two as being a lot closer than just best friends. But to get a better understanding of what exactly Ghislaine was doing for her one-time boyfriend, I want to turn back to Virginia Giuffre's memoir, which mentions Ghislaine over 100
I'm sorry, I'm confused, but I don't know. He's going through this stuff kind of too fast. It's an hour long, almost an hour long video, but all right, the thing I don't understand is what he lives like a modern Maharaja, so wait, so what, she's his former girlfriend? That's the part I don't understand. I thought that they were, I thought they were together up until his death.
Exact nature of their relationship was pretty unknown, other than Epstein once describing her as his best friend in Vicky Ward's 2003 Vanity Fair article, with Ward adding
okay, so if they're dating, he's keeping it on the down low.
She seems to organize much of his life. In 2021, an entire cache of new photos came to light, depicting the two as being a lot closer than just best friends. But to get a better understanding of what exactly Ghislaine was doing for her one-time—
oh my god, chat, I just had the worst association with this. All right, do you know who Ghislaine Maxwell was to Epstein? Please tell me there's not. Okay, no, it's just gonna come up with Epstein stuff. But This is Let me do it for you. Oh my god, this is horrible. This is Ghislaine Maxwell is the let me do it for you dog. Only instead of helping him get the chip at the bottom of the Pringles can, she's helping him abuse minors. Let me do it for you. Kermit. Let me do it for you. Kermit. Let me do it for you. Let me do it for— so let me do it for you, Jeffrey. Yeah, that's what she is. She's that dog.
Boyfriend, I want to turn back to Virginia Giuffre's memoir, which mentions Ghislaine over 140 times.
She's got that dog in her.
Throughout its nearly 140 pages. It also does contain some pretty graphic descriptions of abuse. So once again, if that's
what the hell is this? That's a meme.
Something you find uncomfortable or triggering to listen to,
oh no, chat. Okay, content warning.
completely understand. We discussed in part 1 how Ghislaine introduced herself to Virginia at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort before inviting the young girl over to Epstein's Manhattan residence to be abused again and again, sometimes with Ghislaine herself even
Look at the YouTube comments. Are you in shorts chat, Joseph Winnie?
participating, as a number of other victims have now testified as well. Virginia,
If you mean like the comments, like the chat comments, or are you talking about like actual comments on the video?
expanded on the first time she was instructed to massage Epstein while Ghislaine assisted her, writing, "I was prepped by Ghislaine to treat this as a lesson from her and follow her exact lead. If I did good tonight, then maybe I would become Jeffrey's traveling masseuse, seeing the world and getting paid well for it." The two began massaging Epstein together, with both Epstein and Ghislaine making flirtatious comments to the young girl.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, sorry, I should have mentioned this earlier. We do have a butterfly goal too. I always forget to mention this, right? And we're 8 super chats short on the butterfly goal. So if you want to see me put a butterfly in my hair, you've got 22 minutes left to do a super chat. Like 8 teal super chats will make a butterfly appear in my hair.
Epstein finally rolled over on his back and exposed himself. Virginia looked to Ghislaine for guidance.
God.
But
Okay,
to her
yeah, I see what they're saying here. Yeah, this is gross. So he's getting she's essentially procured these underage girls for him, and then told them that she's gonna teach them how to be his masseuse, and in this case, he's rolling over and probably showing that his crotch is. Anyway.
Shock, Ghislaine was now standing behind her, bare-breasted. She promptly began undressing Virginia, pausing for a moment so she and Epstein could have a laugh at what they called her little girl panties.
That is so fucked up!
Once the abuse was over, the three of them reconvened downstairs, where Ghislaine passed Epstein a black duffel bag containing Virginia's payment for the day, assuring her she had great potential in being a massage therapist. Virginia wrote that her mindset at the time was that in order to succeed, she needed to step up from being a teenager and start thinking like a young woman, telling herself, so what if I had to bargain my body to this rich old geezer? Some girls get themselves through college by becoming a stripper and using their bodies to pay for degrees. Others go down even worse paths. I guess it was just another way to fathom the road I was going down. The effectiveness of the lies I forced myself to believe was working as I continued to tell myself I had to make it any way I could rather than ever letting myself sleep on the streets again. I was trading one shocking lifestyle for another, thinking I was choosing the right one. This echoes a testimony from another victim by the name of Sarah Ransom, who said Ghislaine helped her refine her massage skills to satisfy Jeffrey, explaining that, quote, "If I didn't have sex with Jeffrey, I would be homeless and starving in New York, and my dream of getting a full-time education at one of the top fashion institutes in the world would be diminished," which I need to emphasize again was completely deliberate on the part of Epstein and Ghislaine.
So look, it looks like she's specifically recruiting girls that have a that are vulnerable, right? In some ways, like that are homeless, or people that need this to be financially okay.
They went out of their way to find disenfranchised girls who they could basically force into a world of subjugation. Ghislaine continuing to locate and groom an unspecified number of girls for Epstein.
Why is she dressed up like Sgt. Pepper's? Like, what is this Beatles album cover here?
Throughout the 90s and 2000s.
Like, it looks like she's at a costume party, but why is he not dressed up?
Working to normalize the abuse by having sexually charged conversations with the girls or just being a part of the abuse. Virginia once noting how she sure did act like she loved having control over me, telling me what to do throughout the entire Ghislaine's subsequent trial, which we will discuss more in depth later on.
New Teddy Fresh just dropped. That's right, Burpel.
Also featured a number of testimonies from Epstein's victims who blamed Ghislaine Maxwell for being a key component in facilitating the abuse they endured. An emotional testimony from a girl named Carolyn was particularly crucial in illustrating Ghislaine's role, recalling that at 14, she was unable to even pronounce Ghislaine's first name, just calling her Maxwell for simplicity's sake. According to Carolyn, it was Maxwell who greeted her at Epstein's front door and scheduled appointments for the child to meet with the financier over 100 times throughout the next 4 years, once touching her breasts and telling her she had, quote, a great body for Mr. Epstein. Ghislaine was so committed to abetting Epstein's perversions that she even confiscated the passport of a 15-year-old girl who refused to have sex with the man on Little St. James Island, as court documents reveal that, quote, one witness was in tears as he recounted Maxwell bringing a 15-year-old girl into the employer's home, who, in the utmost distress, told him that Maxwell stole the young girl's passport and tried to make her have sex with Epstein, and then threatened her. This witness was later revealed to be Epstein's former butler, Ronaldo Rizzo, who also recalled the young girl was, quote, distraught and shaking, literally quivering, as she described what she had experienced at the hands of Epstein, Ghislaine, and Sarah Kellen, another one of Epstein's recruiters. The Sun reported in early 2021 that these...
Wait, I haven't heard anything about this Kellen person yet. Is this another Epstein confidant? Or is this a Epstein victim that they've kind of got that they've got like on recruitment duty?
Court documents stemming from Virginia's 2015 suit against Ghislaine also include allegations that the British socialite directed a room full of underage girls to, quote, kiss, dance, and touch one another in a sexual way, which of course is all in addition to what the Farmer sisters' allegations were that we discussed in part 1. Annie going into more detail regarding her experience when she took the stand in 2021. See, Annie was just 16 years old in the spring of 1996 when she was ushered out to the trafficker's 8,000-acre Zorro Ranch in New Mexico.
This is the ranch specifically that Bill Clinton and Hillary utilized. Again, we don't have the list that the Trump administration talked about. It was on Pam Bondi's desk, and then the next time they talked about it, there was no list. And then when Trump talked about it the next time, there was a list, but Obama, Hillary, and Biden had somehow corrupted it or whatever. But we do know that that this place in specific, this is Epstein's home in New Mexico. The Clintons were frequent guests at. Sarah Kellen is a co-conspirator who married a NASCAR champion named Brian Vickers. I hate the background music. Yeah. Well, somebody was telling me that Jabri does his own beats. Is that right? Can we confirm that? This is Jay Aubrey, the YouTuber, and I think it was Hassan that was saying that, he always finds himself like, kind of nodding his nodding his head along to the music, and then he's like, wait a minute, we're talking about child abuse here. This is not, I should not be, this track has no right to go this hard.
Mexico, some 50 miles away from Jemez Springs, where the Catholic Church was known to send pedophile priests for rehabilitation, interestingly enough. Annie read from the personal diary she kept at the time of the abuse during her testimony in court, where she recalled Ghislaine asking if she had ever had a professional massage before, to which she replied no. Ghislaine then led the teenager into a room with a massage table, forced her to get undressed, and began abusing her while Epstein watched, remembering how she, quote, so badly wanted the massage to be over and to get off the table. As KOAT News recently reported, Ghislaine mentioned New Mexico a total of 64 times in subpoenaed emails. New Mexico is also where Virginia accused Governor Bill Richardson and Prince Andrew of abusing her, and it's also another place that Alan Dershowitz and Bill Clinton were reported to have stayed numerous times, as Epstein told his scientist buddies on numerous occasions that this ranch would eventually be used as a base.
Again, what is up with the Elon shit? Hope to seed the human race with his DNA? That is straight out of Elon Musk.
For women to be inseminated and give birth to his children. He expressed plans of having up to 20 women pregnant at a time.
That's straight up Elon Musk shit.
According to the New York Times. The ranch is said to have included a massive 8-person shower, as well as an underground strip club used to...
For the record, chat, the only connection that I know between Elon Musk and Epstein is that there's a picture of him with Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, Elon claims that he was photobombed, that he was taking a picture and that Ghislaine jumped into the background. But again, there's no real way to verify that. So was there a connection between Elon and Maxwell and Epstein? I guess possibly. There definitely is at least one incident of them being at the same party.
Entertain guests, according to what an anonymous contractor who worked at the ranch until 2006 told the Daily Mail. The Mail also published a series of photos inside the sprawling residence that depict stacks of pillows lined up along a hallway, another shower overlooking a large indoor pool.
Oh no, Chad, it's the pool rooms. It's the pool rooms.
And a massive depiction of Jesus crucified on a
You walk into his house and it's just the back rooms.
golden cross in one of the bedrooms. Which, I mean, can you imagine falling asleep with that thing staring at you? Like, what the fuck? Another architect who claimed to have worked for Epstein recalled a 6-foot-tall photo hanging above the stairs to the basement that depicted a naked Ghislaine Maxwell caressing a golden dagger. It's also been reported the ranch was fitted with tiny pinhole cameras that kept a watchful eye on all the guests, which made Ghislaine feel untouchable, as the contractor stated. This is also something Maria Farmer has talked about as well, as she recalled to the Mail that all of Epstein's residences had these mechanical rooms and tunnel systems. I know this because Epstein told me. These rooms were enormous, bigger than houses. I have no idea why anyone needs so many computers in one room.
Backrooms, chat. It's Epstein's pocket dimension.
Frustratingly enough, the existence of these large mechanical rooms has still never been confirmed or denied. His Zorro Ranch was never officially raided by authorities somehow. All we can really do is listen to the victims. Victims like Sarah Ransom, who say, quote, Ghislaine was like the mama bear, if you know what I mean. She called the shots. We had to listen to Ghislaine. And Ghislaine was Jeffrey's right-hand woman. So, you know, whatever Jeffrey wanted went through Ghislaine and then filtered through, according to court documents. Insisting Ghislaine's role went far beyond procurement. After all, she wasn't just bringing him young girls, she was also connecting Epstein to some of the world's most elite power brokers.
Ghislaine Maxwell is in.
Wait, no, like we got one version of that story where it sounds like Epstein met Robert Maxwell, did him maybe some favors before he died, and got connected with the, you know, important people that way, and this is making it sound more like it was through Ghislaine, who maybe, you know, I don't know what, picked up where her dad left off. PDF LAN parties, yeah, this is wild shit. What are the pinhole cameras? Like, what does that mean?
Prison, and a lot of people want to know if she's going to turn in powerful people. And I know you've talked in the past about Prince Andrew, and you've criticized Bill Clinton's
You think he's sweating there?
behavior. I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it.
Okay, chat, this is never gonna happen because I know how the I know how the White House works now, right? So, you know, this is just this is wish casting, okay? But I really wish that somebody at some point would ask Trump something along the lines of, do you think she's gonna turn in you? Right? Like I know, chat. Whisper of a dream. Whisper of a dream. I mean, and you know what would happen. You know what would happen. He would yell at them. His fans would harass them. He would threaten their newspaper with legal, with a defamation case or something like that. Something that obviously would never happen. But that doesn't mean that the the media outlet's not going to settle the case with him anyway, and potentially fire the reporter. I know why this doesn't happen. Also, yeah, you'd lose your access if you had, access to the briefing room. You would lose it immediately. Then I want to see what Trump does, what Trump would do if somebody directly confronted him straight up. Are you on the Epstein list, right? Or what did the president know, and when did he know it? Average New Mexico home, silly native lizards, ristras, horrifying depiction of Christ's crucifixion, just normal stuff, Yeah, haven't been to New Mexico, but I've been to Arizona.
Too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I wish her well.
During the late 80s, Ghislaine Maxwell started a business called Maxwell's Corporate Gifts, which involved her supplying long-term service awards for companies. I'm not even really sure what that means, but she was convinced her business could see quite a boost in capital if she reached out to US real estate mogul and shoe salesman Donald Trump through her father, who had been known to hang out with the future president from time to time and thought highly of him. I mean, Robert Maxwell was basically the Donald Trump of the UK, so of course they knew each other. Excited to tell her father,
Hey Joel, thank you for contributing to my Vietnam trip fund.
about this cool new proposal, Robert effectively shot her idea out of the sky immediately, shouting, "Have you got your bum in your head? Why the f would Donald Trump want to waste his time seeing you with your crappy gifts when he has a multi-million-dollar business to run?" As reported by Nicholas Davies in the book Death of a Tycoon. Only, I guess Robert underestimated Trump's affinity for stupid people and their stupid business ventures, because as Vanity Fair reported, Trump would go on to spend a lot of time with Ghislaine throughout much of the 90s. Like, a lot of time. There's a ton of pictures of these two. According to Stephen Hoffenberg, a character who will not stop popping up in this series, Ghislaine established a correspondence with Trump through his then wife, Ivana, who, according to what her assistant told the Washington Post, would meet Ghislaine at cocktail parties, gallery openings, and shows, that kind of thing. And that's pretty much all we know about their connection. We can't really ask her anything else since she's now buried at Trump's golf course, but I think we get the overall picture. Trump initially became associated with Epstein through Ghislaine, as was the case with many other powerful people Epstein knew. One investment banker who knew the couple attributed Epstein's connections to Ghislaine's own personal appeal, calling her a charming, likable front person, and explaining to the New York Times that a big part of the reason people talked to him was because of Ghislaine. Ghislaine is also who introduced Epstein to Prince Andrew, a man she's known since her uni days at Oxford. Even though she says she didn't, Andrew himself says she absolutely did. Given Robert's prestige, it's really no mystery that Maxwells have always had ties to the crown. In fact, some sources have even asserted the two dated at one time, as stated in a recent ITV documentary, Ghislaine, Prince Andrew, and the Pedophile, where one former royal protection officer recounted how Buckingham Palace staff assumed Ghislaine and Andrew had an intimate relationship, considering the vast amount of trips she was taking to the palace and the ease in which she was coming and going. Telling ITV she was in 4 times in one day from the morning till the evening. She kept coming in and out, in and out. Business Insiders put together a timeline of their correspondence from 1999 to 2001, with flight logs and photographs laying out all the various meetings and excursions they had, which include the time Andrew invited Epstein and Ghislaine to his mom's Scottish residence. You know, his mom, the Queen. If Ghislaine ever did have a romantic thing with Andrew, it must have happened around the time she broke up with Epstein. What we know from that old biography provided by Epstein's lawyers is that he and Ghislaine ceased their relationship in 2000, but still remained close friends afterward, with Ghislaine relocating that year to her own Upper East Side townhome just 10 blocks away from Epstein's, according to the New York Times. Why they broke up, we don't know. They were still very much present in each other's lives for most of the 2000s, but after Epstein's guilty plea in 2008, the two were never photographed together again. That doesn't mean they stopped seeing each other, of course, as they were still exchanging emails as late as 2015, but it does indicate the two may have understood the scrutiny they were now under. Ghislaine, along with several other Epstein recruiters such as Sarah Kellen, was immunized in Palm Beach as a part of Dershowitz and Acosta's sickeningly generous plea agreement. But Epstein was now getting a lot of attention as a registered sex offender, which meant Ghislaine likely wanted.
Dershowitz popped up recently during this last the revelations about the list, and I'm kind of wondering. I'm trying to remember what it was. Something about I think he said he knew people that were on the list, and he said something to the effect that he wanted it to be released, which is not you wouldn't think that he would want those files released. He did get, I think, accused by was it Virginia Giuffre that made the accusations and then withdrew them after threat of legal litigation from Dershowitz.
had nothing to do with him publicly as to not bring any more unwanted attention to her own past, though she definitely wasn't about to disappear either. Though the law had officially caught up with Epstein, well, kind of. Ghislaine was permitted to live her life as if nothing happened. For a while, Ghislaine continued to do what she did best, schmoozing the elite class, sometimes even hosting events at her own house where she had stuff like this hanging on the wall. I mean, this.
Whoa, is that some spirit cooking? What is that? Yo, no, literally, what is that? Is that like, that looks like some like weird like Germanic folklore shit, like Goethe or something?
This is something that looks fake, right? This is what your QAnon uncle would post on Facebook.
That's what I'm talking about. That does look, yeah, like that's what I meant by the spirit cooking. It sounds like, yeah, something that
or something, but no, it is real.
They'd be like, this is in Podesta's house.
It's a real Getty stock image taken at Ghislaine's house. You just can't make this.
How was that fucking beard so long? Like, what the fuck?
Stuff up. But regardless, this freedom to socialize as she pleased put her in the same vicinity as Naomi Campbell, Ariana Huffington, Tory Burch, Graydon Carter, Vicky Ward, Martha Stewart, Charlie Rose, Rupert Murdoch, Michael.
Okay, so these are potential list people.
Kane, and Neil deGrasse Tyson, Roger Waters, Michael Bloomberg, James
Not Roger Waters, not Mick Jagger.
Krakowski, Mick Jagger, and of course, presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Who
please show the clip. His thing where he's like, I've been on Epstein's plane many times, and
apparently didn't know Epstein, but still, it took his family on board the Lolita
for fossil hunting. For fossil hunting. God damn it. He's got to be the weirdest man in all of existence. Like, the part of the brain that the brain worm ate of Robert F. Kennedy's brain, like, has got to be like the part that, I don't know, makes you want to be normal. I don't know. It's just like there's something so weird about this guy. What does he do on his spare time? He goes fossil hunting with Jeffrey Epstein, and then he goes falconing, finds a dead bear, throws it in his car, and dumps it in Central Park under a bike. What a weird guy. What a weird fucking guy. If I ever talk to Sam Cedar, chat, I'm going to ask him about his experiences with Robert F. Kennedy, because he used to be on a podcast with this guy back when RFK was mainly known as a environmental advocate.
Press twice and went fossil hunting with Ghislaine or some shit. What the fuck?
Oh wait, sorry, with Ghislaine. That wasn't, maybe he didn't go fossil hunting with Jeffrey, he did it with Ghislaine?
Over on Jeffrey Epstein's jet, were you?
I was on Jeffrey Epstein's jet 2 times. I was on it in 1993. My wife had some kind of relationship with Robert Maxwell. At another occasion, I flew again.
My wife had some kind of relationship? That sounds like you think she's cheating with Ghislaine.
With my family, with I think 4 of my children, and Mary, my wife, to Rapid City, South Dakota, to go fossil hunting.
Yeah, that's
of course.
Probably the last combination of words I would want to see appear under my face.
Did you bring your falcons?
If I were on the news. For a couple of years there, Ghislaine was like a specter haunting these snobby rich people gatherings, actively harming the reputation of anyone unlucky enough to wander into frame while she's taking a picture. Because truthfully, not all of these celebrities were aware of what she was doing with Epstein. I mean, of course, some of them had an idea.
Well, yeah, to be fair, we got to say we can't assume that just because they were in the same social circle with her that they, knew about this stuff or did that stuff. But yeah, it does make one wonder. There's Bill Clinton, who, of all the people that we've talked about, maybe the most likely person to have, to be implicated, other than Trump himself.
But you gotta keep in mind, Ghislaine was around a lot of people. Like, as much as I hate Elon Musk, I have no real reason to believe this photo is anything other than the innocuous photobomb he's claimed it to be. Except
I'm sorry, I don't think that's a photobomb. I remembered that picture differently. I thought she was standing behind him. She's standing right next to him. She's standing right next to him, right? I feel like if it was a photobomb, look, chat, if you're taking a picture and somebody comes up behind you, you don't even see them. So you can absolutely get photobombed. But if somebody stands right next to you, I mean, the only like I feel like you turn and you look and say, you know, what's going on. Like maybe he didn't know you know, what Maxwell was up to, so, you know, he wouldn't have like looked at her as, um, like the evil person that she turned out to be, but he at least you at least turn around and say, "Excuse me? Excuse me?" Like what? You're not even a look? I still don't believe that he was photobombed.
Epstein did actually send an email in 2012 bragging about a dinner he had with Musk, of which I actually was not aware of until researching this video, so hey, not the best look in the world. Unless, of course, he was referring to Elon's brother Kimball Musk, who Epstein has allegedly set up with a girlfriend according to Business Insider. So again, not the best look, and maybe I should have used somebody else to make this point, but the bottom line is that Ghislaine Maxwell had no trouble at all navigating some of the most prestigious social circles in the country. Even while involved in a number of civil suits filed by Epstein's accusers, Ghislaine seemed to have no problem visiting a private campfire retreat hosted by Jeff Bezos in 2018, just a couple months ahead of Julie K. Brown's bombshell series on Epstein. That's how slippery she was. Making TV appearances and giving actual TED Talks, Ghislaine was in full view of the public while knowing that at any time, the Fed
Cloudy, thank you for this. Cloudy XX, thank you for the super chat. I will put that towards Vox Populi. I'm sorry I didn't see that earlier. Here, let me try to put it up on screen.
could very well come knocking. She was even involved in a few NGOs, including the time she founded Terramar, a weird delusional project to create a country out of the ocean, kinda? I still don't really understand what this thing was. And frankly, I don't think anybody does. Even in the interviews I saw, you can tell she's struggling to explain the purpose of Terramar to this CNN host, who clearly doesn't know or care what in the hell this woman is talking about. I mean, it's just embarrassing. By 2015, Virginia had filed a defamation suit against Ghislaine when the socialite called her a liar over claims that Epstein and Maxwell had abused her, according to Business Insider. This brought Ghislaine all the negative attention she had tried to run away from by distancing herself from Epstein years earlier, and thus
Easter Bunny says Musk had a financial connection with Epstein. He worked as a financial advisor for Tesla while it was still a private company.
She began to panic. In 2016, she abruptly sold her townhome for $15 million and basically went off the grid. Believed to have fled the country, Ghislaine wasn't photographed at any other event past the year 2016 and started dodging various court summons as they rolled in. In 2017, her lawyers told a judge they didn't know where she was, but they assumed her to be somewhere in London. For the next couple years, Ghislaine kept an extremely low profile, barely even going outside, according to one source close to her at the time, who told the Daily Mail that Ghislaine had, quote, become a real homebody, rarely ventured out. She's the antithesis of the woman who traveled extensively and partied constantly with Epstein. That is until August 2019, when Ghislaine was photographed here at a Los Angeles In-N-Out, days after her ex-lover turned up dead at the Metropolitan Correctional Facility in New York. Though shortly after this photo made the rounds, she vanished again, which was, of course, to be expected. She had to have known this was coming. One former assistant U.S. attorney, David Weinstein, told Business Insider at the time that his death makes her the top of the food chain in terms of who you're going after. She now gets put in the kingpin position. Now, the hunt was on. The Daily Mail reported she was holed up in Massachusetts with her new husband, a millionaire tech CEO by the name of Scott Borgerson.
I mean, that's a big upgrade.
I don't give a fuck. Who she had discreetly married in 2016. Meanwhile, Sky News reported in October 2019 that she was—
Oh, I'm so confused now. Married in 2016. That's 3 years before Epstein. I thought that these two were— I don't know, chat. I'm giving up about like thinking I know about Ghislaine, Epstein, and their life together. They mentioned she calls him a ex-boyfriend at one point. Like obviously their sex life was intertwined when it came to their mutual abuse of minors. But yes, so she's married in 2016 to somebody that's not Epstein.
hiding out with longtime Epstein associate Jean-Luc Brunel in Brazil. So there were a lot of conflicting reports, but it wasn't until the FBI used a stingray device to pin down her exact movements by tracking her phone signals. As the Daily Beast described it, the portable equipment, which can fit inside a briefcase, simulates a cell tower and forces mobile phones in the immediate vicinity to connect to it instead of the actual tower. Once it connects, the stingray captures the phone's exact location and the registered user's identity information. This brought federal agents to her New Hampshire home she had recently purchased under a fake name, where they discovered she hadn't exactly been living in squalor. The tucked away hideout, literally named it Tucked Away, was a 150-acre multi-million-dollar cabin exhibiting the same hideous taste and decor we've come to know and love. I mean, come on, what are those chairs? She was formally charged in Manhattan federal court with enticing a minor to travel to engage in criminal sexual activity, transporting a minor with the intent to engage in criminal sexual activity, conspiracy to commit both of those offenses, and perjury in connection with a sworn deposition. The indictment seemed to focus mostly on her crimes spanning from 1994 to 1997, and alleged she had exploited girls as young as 14, stating that, quote, Maxwell's presence during minor victims' interactions with Epstein, including interactions where the minor victim was undressed or that involved sex acts with Epstein, helped put the victims at ease because an adult woman was present. Because she posed an obvious flight risk, she was held without bail at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York. After all these years of running and hiding from authorities, it was becoming more and more apparent to both Ghislaine and the victims she abused that maybe a semblance of justice might actually be on the horizon at long at last. Ghislaine's trial happened in late 2021, and honestly, it didn't take too long. In December, she was found guilty and convicted of conspiring with the late Jeffrey Epstein for at least a decade to recruit, groom, and abuse underage girls. During the course of her 1-month trial, the jury heard testimony from 4 accusers, only one of whom used their full name, who all detailed their horrific experiences of being served up to Epstein and his girlfriend, as written in the New York Times. Annie Farmer said in the statement after the verdict that, quote, I am so relieved and grateful that the jury recognized the pattern of predatory behavior that Maxwell engaged in for years and found her guilty of these crimes. She has caused hurt to many more women than the few of us who had the chance to testify in the courtroom. Ghislaine's attempts to paint herself as a mere scapegoat for Epstein's crimes fell pretty flat. She wasn't really doing herself any favors when she started drawing the courtroom sketch artist right there in front of everyone, something that Charles Manson apparently did. It also didn't help that prosecutors revealed Epstein had apparently sent Ghislaine over $30 million to maintain her lavish life, and of course, these photos weren't a great look either, which I think I'll have to pixelate, but this one depicts Ghislaine pressing Epstein's foot into her breast on the Lolita Express, so that's wonderful. Defense attorney Paul Applebaum told Reuters that if
I could have used, that's something that I would have preferred to have never seen.
If he were in the jury, he'd think the two were Siamese twins. There was ultimately no way the defense could argue they weren't closely intertwined. An appeal from Ghislaine's defense was also recently denied, meaning Ghislaine will continue to carry out a 20-year prison sentence at FCL Tallahassee. Well, unless she gets Epsteined first.
Maxwell, for her part, stood to receive the sentence as his
custody. So this is a year ago. He's not going to mention anything about the current situation with Ghislaine Maxwell, which is that she's talking to Trump's attorneys. She's talking to people from the DOJ, and her lawyer has mentioned a pardon or a, oh my god, what's the other word? Commutation of her sentence. And so that's but that's not information that Jabri had at this moment.
Customary, but pretty much just looked forward and didn't seem to have any sort of overt emotion or reaction to today's proceedings. And I will note, during the course of the victim's testimony, she also did not appear to ever look at them, just kind of leaned forward and looked forward and took some notes as well.
To this day, Ghislaine insists she did nothing wrong. Even her siblings have tried to convince us all of her innocence. But anyone who actually knows anything about this case will tell you that Ghislaine Maxwell played one of the most critical roles in allowing Epstein's international trafficking ring to expand as far as it did. The biggest injustice of all, though, is that right now, she is his only accomplice to receive any kind of legal punishment at all. And she was originally immunized in 2008. If this story has shown me anything, is that the rich and powerful will do whatever it takes to protect their own kind, which is of course something we all knew. But the way in which Jeffrey Epstein was consistently protected, combined with the lack of answers regarding things like where he got his money, who he may have been working for, and the extent to which he was operating, exemplifies more than anything else the most frustrating, corrupt, and ruthless elements of the various institutions we are supposed to trust. I think I can say that at this point I have truly lost my mind. I thought I knew the Epstein story a couple years ago, but lo and behold, there's still so much more we haven't even dug into. The full scope of Epstein's operation can never be adequately
Chat, what I'm wondering is, like, I don't know, like, let's say that I was to cover Epstein stuff in depth, right? Just go fully down the rabbit hole, fully down the iceberg, right? Would it, like, warp my mind? Like, would researching this stuff, like, fuck me up mentally, do you think? Because it's a bottomless rabbit hole from what I've seen. Oh, also, I've added some mods on the Twitch side of things. Just noticed that I didn't see any swords there. YouTube, we're definitely missing a few mods tonight, but it looks like you're okay over there on YouTube. Let me know. Let me know if you need more wrenches over there. Yeah, we're missing a few people tonight, so I might need to add some extras, especially for Shorts chat. But it looks like y'all are doing okay with this, so yeah.
3 YouTube videos. Its depravity stretches beyond what our imaginations can comprehend, and I have a feeling that we
sometimes have to switch those roles up, mainly, you know, based on you know, who's here regularly and who's here not so regularly. So we may be you know, looking at switching some wrenches in the near future. But yeah, I'll just try to. I want to make sure, especially, that I don't leave Shorts mods short changed. Wow, that kind of works. That you've got enough, you know, that you've got enough help over there.
We may never know where the saga truly ends. The fact that this story still gets written off as just another QAnon conspiracy or something that isn't worth talking about infuriates me. There are real victims at the heart of this thing who deserve to see actual justice in their lifetime. And with the way things are going, we've only begun to scratch.
What the fuck is that? What am I looking at? Holy shit. You don't just flash something like that up on screen. What is this? Oh my god, chat. Should I make this big? Just so we can take a little look here. Okay, we got Bill Clinton on TV, FBI school bus, but the bus is a dinosaur and somebody's head is sticking out. Big Hand Tower? Is that Donald Trump on a mushroom? The fuck am I looking at? Yeah, Ghislaine as a dinosaur, and it looks like she's eating somebody? Is that Bezos down there? What the fuck am I looking at? The setiles? The setiles? What the fuck is that setile? Is that Dershowitz in the dunce cap? Oh my god, chat, this looks like a fucked up, who's that, Dutch, artist that draws the Garden of Earthly... Yeah, it looks like Hieronymus Bosch, but with some, you know, with less skills and, with, what do you call those oily crayons? What are those called? I'm trying to see if I recognize anybody else in here. There's an owl there. Is that like a reference to Bohemian Grove? I don't fucking know. Is that Jeffrey Epstein's face in a UFO? Maybe? What is this? Where did it come from? Oh, no, wait, this isn't or wait, what are those things called? I'm trying to remember what they're called. You know the oily crayon things that, I missed who made this. This is Jay Aubrey, if you're talking about the video. But who made the picture is a real question. Were they high when they ordered this? Yeah, this does look like a trip. A lot of splurting going on? Oh my god. That is art by Annie Farmer. Okay, one of the victims. So wait, when she was like underage, that she did that. My bad, I'll switch back to Twitch. Oh, no, I mean, I think we're okay on Twitch now. I added a few other mods. I'm just talking about that we just like have some regulars that are missing tonight, so I just wanted to make sure that we're covered and everything. Are they called pastels? Yeah, I feel like they're called, I feel like Cray Pass, that's what they're called, the oily crayon things, is pastels. Yeah, you're right, it's a painting. Because if you, I mean, it's hard to see, but behind my picture, there's like paintbrushes. So yeah, I don't think it's actually, it looks kind of like pastel, but I think it's acrylic. Is that right? They're not watercolors. Are these acrylics? Who's the bugged out guy in the blue sky? Wait, let me see. Oh, speaking of blue sky, I should probably mention that I've got a blast off thread on Blue Sky. It's pinned both in Twitch and YouTube. So if you want to go over there and jump in that thread, maybe give your thoughts about the subject matter that we're covering tonight, or even if you're feeling, if you're feeling fancy, maybe hit it with a like or a repost if you want. That would be really helpful. Also, make sure to like the stream. FBI diagram silence. The tiles. The guy in the blue sky. Okay, that was the question. I don't see a guy in, like, there's people in the sun that are like all cherubs and stuff. So wait, I mean, I'm guessing, did she do like art therapy or something? Oh, I see the guy in the blue sky. Yeah, I can't tell who that is. I see the face now.
The surface. If you want to learn more, again, I highly recommend Julie K. Brown's series in the Miami Herald, Perversion of Justice, as well as her book by the same name, which I've referenced throughout all of these videos. Same with John Preston's book on the Maxwells, Fall. I think the Maxwell family has
literal fall.
A particularly interesting history that shouldn't be discounted when talking about Epstein. Virginia Giuffre's memoir is also one of the absolute best sources you'll find when it comes to learning more about what these victims experienced at the hands of Ghislaine and Epstein. And of course, all of the recently unredacted court documents that came out earlier this year can be found down below as well. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. I think these videos truly did break my brain into pieces, but it's an important story and I'm glad you've taken an interest in it. I'll stop yapping now. This is taken up my life for the past 2 months, I guess. For my own sanity, I'm gonna go find something else to make a video on.
Yeah, so this is his third video in the Jeffrey Epstein saga. The first two are about Epstein himself. This one is about Ghislaine and her family background. If I haven't said it already, this is Jay Aubrey, the YouTuber that we're watching, and I'm gonna go ahead and copy his link and throw it in chat for you. Jay Aubrey, always covering the hard stuff. Yeah, God. Look up the painting on Google. Crazy lore behind the painting? Jeez. A survivor made this. Yeah, yeah. So there's Jay Aubrey's YouTube link if you want to go follow him. And look, I've got another video essay. I don't know. It feels like we never watch video essays, so I'm trying to watch a few of those. I will be hitting up some of the more recent news videos of the Epstein case, and maybe even the other thing I wanted to try to do is take a look at some of the right wingers that are falling out of love with Trump right now. If you look at the polls, there's not a lot of movement, right? Somewhere between 80 and 90% of Republicans still support Trump at this point. That hasn't changed, but what has changed is some of the podcasters and influencers that supported Trump in the previous election are they're having second thoughts about supporting Trump now. So at least that is somewhat encouraging. So yeah, let's take a look. This is Patrick Boyle.
Jeffrey Epstein,
I don't know if you know about this guy. I think we've watched one video of his in the past. He's Omega Star, thank you for the 300 bits. Trump lost. Yeah, he lost Q Shaman. That's right. Q Shaman no longer supports Trump. So I mean, I'm sure that's a huge loss for him. I'm sure he's, staying up late at night, wondering how he lost Q Shaman. But yeah, he lost Q Shaman. It's Maria Farmer. Oh, did I say Ann Farmer? Maria Farmer, not Annie. My bad. I posted a Daily Beast article about the painting in Discord. Nice. I'll take a little look at that. Chill Goblin's got some good videos on, specifically the Trump Epstein connection. That's true. And another YouTuber who likes to go on deep dives in Chill Goblin. So let's see. What was I trying to do? I gotta put this. So we're at 109 out of. Well, really, it's like 200 now. We're definitely gonna get some bonus content. The question is, will we get one bonus topic or two bonus topics? So, kind of working on that second one right now. Let's see the butterfly goal. The butterfly goal expired, so I put up a new one. You've got hypothetically 2 hours and 39 minutes left to make that happen. If you want the confetti and if you want me to put the butterfly in my hair, it is 10 super chats. Of course, that got reset. Wait, this guy with a very dry humor and with new glasses. Yeah, he's got some kind of like. His humor it's like a sleeper humor, right? You don't think he's making a joke, but then you realize he is, and you're like, oh, that was actually really smart. And he's like a finance guy, I guess. So this video is about following the money, which Ron Wyden, senator from Oregon, has been doing recently. Is kind of one of the underplayed aspects of the Epstein case. The looking at the finances as clues to what Epstein was up to, who he was involved in, and Ron Wyden has done some work on that. So I don't know if Patrick Boyle here, this is Patrick Boyle, is going to be talking about the Wyden investigation, or if he's going to go over something else. But I figured we'd take at least a look at this. He's pretty good. Like I said. He doesn't look like it, but he's actually a pretty funny guy.
Disgraced financier was a college dropout who managed to amass a fortune that's difficult to explain before dying mysteriously in his jail cell in 2019. He wasn't a rapper like P. Diddy, yet he owned 2 private islands, multiple private jets, and homes all over the world. He befriended presidents, princes, scientists, celebrities, businessmen, and billionaires, and was described by prosecutors in 2019 as a man of nearly infinite means.
Joel Silver says, intellectual nexus of MAGA has jumped ship. If you consider Vinny from PBD the intellectual nexus, then yes, very much so. I'm sure he's lost Moonlord as well.
Yet despite years of investigations, no one can say with certainty how he made his money. Bloomberg wrote after his arrest in 2019 that for all his infamy, there's scanty...
Wait, no, that's a great question. That's a great question. Here, let me change the title on our... Oh, wait, what the fuck? Omega Star, I don't know why it's not doing the alert for you, but yeah, I do see your super chat there. And let me see if I can put it up on screen. And then the other thing I need to do is to change our title on the shorts stream. So there it is. Yeah, the question we're asking right now is, how did Epstein make his money? Something like that? And there we go. Boom. Butterfly, butterfly, butterfly. Thank you. How scarce anything intellectual is in this right-wing cesspool. True. It's just me, or is Irene quieter? You know what? That's true. That's true. Yeah. Am I quieter than the video on Twitch audio? It's not just Twitch audio. Yeah, I do have a little problem. It's that this thing keeps slipping off the table, right? And so I'm having to push it back to prevent that. And then when I push it back, I'm farther from the microphone. Usually I'm up on the microphone. Here, I mean, like, I don't know. I could either let's just boost the gain for now. Testing, 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 test. There we go. All right. Is that better? But yeah, always let me know if there's an audio problem, because it's not always something that I can detect without you giving me feedback. Anyway, so we're gonna get into the finances of Epstein. Where did his money come from? It's a question that a lot of people are asking. This guy didn't seem to have many prospects, right? He was a math tutor. The Bill Barr gave him he didn't even seem to be qualified to be a math tutor. And he went from that to being this big shot financial advisor. But as far as his fortune goes, as far as his, the properties that he owned and stuff, it's not really clear where the money came for that. So we're hoping to get some insight here from Patrick Boyle on Epstein's finances and where those leads. Follow the money. That's what we're going to do. We're going to follow the money.
Details of how he made his money. The FT similarly wrote around the same time that this question has confounded journalists for decades. Given his links to big names and the subsequent allegations against him, there's been major public interest in the life and the wealth of Jeffrey Epstein, along with his crimes and the network of influential enablers that surrounded him. Epstein was born in Brooklyn, the son of a groundskeeper and a stay-at-home mom. He graduated high...
Do you know who this guy reminds me of, chat? Let me know if you see the connection here.
Hello there, my name's Card. I'm a long-time progressive...
What do you think, chat? Delivery? Very similar.
...community organizer and activist. And for a little while now, I've been making these videos I'm interested in here on YouTube as a hobby. Something in particular I've been doing on here is making a whole series of videos, each only a few minutes long, where I explain the meaning behind all sorts of different reactionary dogma.
I feel like card posting is kind of the is it he's kind of like the report of the day of 4chan. Like, right, he's always like telling you about like a dog whistle, a right-wing dog whistle or something. Like, but yeah, I don't know. Like, he is to, as report of the day is to fast food, so is card posting to 4chan culture.
High school and briefly attended Cooper Union and NYU before dropping out of both.
The only difference is the accent. But yeah, the delivery is very similar between these two. Their eyes also similar color.
Whistles. If you don't know, a dog whistle.
Do you think that Patrick Boyle could be card posting's dad?
After falsely claiming to have a college degree, he briefly taught math and physics at a private high school in New York before being dismissed after 2 years for poor performance. He went on to work for a few years at Bear Stearns, and after being laid off, claimed to be running a money management firm for the ultra-wealthy. His firm's operations were opaque, its client list never disclosed, and its assets never verified. He had only one confirmed client, and everything else is a fog of speculation, secretive offshore companies, whispered blackmail theories, and a social circle that included everyone from US presidents.
Same cadence, different accent. Yeah, but he's the real connection, I think, between card posting and Patrick Boyle has got to be the eyes, right? You know, they've got that. I would say, report of the week. Yeah.
To British royalty. The controversy over Epstein's death became a hot topic once again when Donald Trump returned to office in January. Trump chose top law enforcement officials like Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, and Kash Patel, who earned much of their political capital by encouraging conspiracy theories about the deep state. Trump himself had implied on multiple occasions that there was information in the Epstein files that would take down his political opponents.
Bill Clinton.
Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of problems.
After teasing that a big announcement was in the pipeline, the Department of Justice and FBI finally came out a few weeks ago with an announcement that there was nothing to see. There was no client list, no one was implicated in the files, and Epstein had taken his own life, contradicting long-held conspiracy theories about the case. When the FBI later released clearly doctored footage from the only functioning camera near Epstein's prison cell the night he died, the MAGA base were enraged that there was a cover-up. And
I'm sorry, somebody just mentioned this. Jacob Chansley
doctored footage
is Q Shaman.
The only functioning camera near Epstein's prison cell the night he died, the MAGA...
There he is, yeah. Fuck this stupid piece of shit. What a fraud. Oh my god. I didn't realize it was that. Wow, he just added Trump here. Does Trump post on... It's just on Truth Social? No, Real Donald Trump is his Twitter at. Does Trump post on Twitter?
Base were enraged that there was a cover-up, and some were possibly disappointed that Kash Patel was such a sloppy video editor. There's a point at which you just have to hire someone in who knows what they're doing. As public pressure mounts and conspiracy theories swirl, one question remains at the heart of the scandal, and that is, how did Jeffrey Epstein really make his money? Sometimes it can be difficult to find time to learn new things, but today's sponsor, Brilliant.org, makes it easy to learn with quick, fun lessons that you can do anywhere.
Ethical React. We're going to watch the inlaid ad.
Right on your phone. Brilliant is an interactive learning app designed to help you not just learn, but really understand complex topics. They have thousands of lessons so you can follow your curiosity wherever it leads you. You learn by trying things out for yourself, which is much more effective than just watching a lecture. Give your mind a daily workout with interactive courses in math, programming, science, AI, data, and more. You'll become a better thinker and problem solver, one hands-on lesson at a time. Whether you're learning to translate your ideas into code, build formulas, design electrical circuits, run simulations with data, or explore cutting-edge topics like AI. To try everything Brilliant has to offer free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/Patrick or scan the QR code on screen, or you can click on the link in the description. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. When federal prosecutors charged Jeffrey Epstein in 2019, they described him as the orchestrator of a vast trafficking operation that exploited hundreds of underage girls. Authorities claim to have gathered a trove of damning evidence that included photographic and video evidence, financial records, and digital files that allegedly pointed to a broader network of enablers and clients. This July, the Department of Justice and FBI released a memo stating that after an exhaustive review of over 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence, they found no incriminating client list and no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals. This sudden shift in narrative after years of speculation and public expectation has only deepened suspicion and fueled renewed conspiracy theories.
So yeah, Chad, the reason I think that the Epstein case sort of touches on something that we all feel, the reason that it has so much resonance and the reason that Donald Trump can't get this matter to go away is that I think that it implicates more than just Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, right? I think that it gets to the heart of our frustration that the ultra wealthy seem to live in a world beyond consequences, right? You can see so many wealthy people that are honestly not that smart, that, you know, kind of illustrating the Peter principle, or in most cases, just the effect of generational wealth. Donald Trump's a great example of this, right? Donald Trump is a perfect example of this. He, is known for his business acumen, for his deal making, and yet in reality, chat, he inherited his money. And I know what you're going to say. Okay, he inherited his money, but then he made good investments, and that's why he's so rich. And, yeah, you're just jealous, whatever, right? No, chat. I'm telling you, if you inherited the money that Donald Trump got from his dad, and you just did some basic bitch investments, like let's say S&P 500, that's a very low risk investment, and it doesn't have a great return in the short term. But, had we taken the money that Donald Trump got from his dad and invested it in S&P, in the most basic bitch of investments that you could imagine, we would have more money than Donald Trump has. So his, what he's built off of the money that he was given is less than somebody that knows next to nothing about investing could make. In other words, he's lost a lot of money. He's gone bankrupt multiple times, and so he's a great example of somebody who's generational wealth, even though his whole life has been a failure up until the point that he got the gig on the reality show The Apprentice, right? His business, his deal making, it was just a failure. He's done nothing but lose money. Everything that he's touched business-wise has turned to absolute shit. He's got a long list of scams and, failed investments and failed business ventures that, he never should have been on The Apprentice in the first place because he's not a successful businessman. And yet his generational wealth, essentially who his daddy is, makes him appear as such in the modern world. And nobody's meaningfully calling him out, right? And that's just the tip of the iceberg. And so when we see the wealthy corner more and more of the world's wealth while the rest of us suffer more and more just to make ends meet, it really touches on something, right? And the added impunity that the wealthy have, getting away with stuff like this. Like Epstein was given the sweetheart deal when he was found to be, abusing minors, right? He was given a sentence that didn't even really require that allowed him to spend time out of prison. That's how wild that shit is. It's just unimaginable. Like if you or I got a jail sentence or got a sentence, it wouldn't be like what Epstein is doing, right? You'd be in jail. You'd be probably getting abused yourself in there, and it's a whole different world that the ultra wealthy occupy. I think that's what it's touching on. And, rich people should take note. The rest of the world is very interested in this case, but it doesn't stop with Epstein. The fact that so many people, rather than looking at Luigi Mangione as a villain, look at him as somewhat of a folk hero right now, that should tell you something. If you're wealthy, you should be reading the tea leaves right now, and these tea leaves should remind you of pre-revolutionary France. The symbol for the French Revolution is often the guillotine, and it's regarded as kind of a horrendous instrument of torture, right? It's kind of a horrible thing to think about. Essentially a massage table with a stock for a person's head to go in, and then a giant heavy blade hoisted 10, 20 meters above the table that falls down and cuts someone's head clean off, right? That sounds pretty horrible. Well, you might be surprised to know that the guillotine was invented not to be a instrument of terror, not to be like a deterrent, like, hey, don't get on the wrong side of the revolution or else you're going to get your head cut off with this thing, right? The reason it was invented was that the peasants were already doing, executions of the nobles in the countryside, right? They were breaking into nobles' homes and sometimes burning them to death with their families, and sometimes pulling them apart limb from limb. Now, chat, that is a truly gruesome death. But that's what was happening during the French Revolution, right? So they invent this thing to say, all right, we can't stop you from killing nobles. We can't stop you from killing enemies of the revolution. But what we can do is make their death a little bit more humane. That's why the guillotine was invented. So rich people should take note that, if the shit hits the fan, their end is going to come through something a lot worse than the guillotine. All right. I don't know. I think they're fucking around, and I think they're about to find out. And, it's not a pretty thing. It's not something to be cavalier about. Revolutionary times are brutal for all kinds of people. But yeah, this looks to be particularly brutal for the ultra wealthy. And they have absolutely made their own bed here. Anyway, that's all I'll say about that.
Despite the opacity around the origins of his wealth, the scale of Jeffrey Epstein's fortune was undeniable. A filing in his criminal case pegged his net worth at roughly $560 million, while the New York Times later estimated it at $600 million. His assets included a portfolio of luxury homes, including a $77 million Manhattan townhouse where he was arrested, a $12 million estate in Palm Beach, a $17 million ranch in New Mexico, and an $8.6 million apartment in Paris. His two private islands, Little St. James and Great St. James, were valued at $86 million at the time of his death. He owned 3 private jets, a helicopter, and a fleet of at least 15 vehicles. His most famous plane, dubbed the Lolita Express, was not just an ordinary private jet. It was a Boeing 727-100, which, if kitted out as a commercial jet, would have held 150 passengers. These holdings paint the picture of a man with immense financial power.
Wait,
was there any clear
Wait,
or credible
what is this? Am I eating a red square? Is that what that says?
explanation of how he acquired it? Although Epstein was often described as a billionaire, even prosecutors hesitated to confirm that label. His firm, Financial Trust Company, was based in the US Virgin Islands and never released audited statements or performance data. This lack of transparency, combined with conflicting reports about the size of his staff and losses during the 2008 financial crisis, cast serious doubt on whether his fortune ever reached the scale he claimed. One of the most troubling aspects of the Epstein saga is how long it took for federal charges to be brought against him, despite mounting evidence and dozens of victims. In 2007 and 2008, Epstein faced serious allegations in Florida, but instead of being prosecuted federally, he struck a controversial non-prosecution agreement with then U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta, who would later serve as Donald Trump's labor secretary. The deal allowed Epstein to plead guilty to lesser state charges.
You can't tell what this is? What does it look like I'm eating, chat?
Charges of soliciting prostitution, resulting in just 13 months in a county jail, with work release privileges and a requirement to register as an ex-offender. This agreement was kept secret.
I'm sorry, that beep was too loud.
From Epstein's victims, a violation of federal victims' rights laws. At the time, Epstein was represented by a legal dream team that included Alan Dershowitz and Kenneth Starr, both of whom wielded significant political and legal influence. Prosecutors in 2019 were accused by
It looks like I'm eating Super Meat Boy.
Epstein's lawyers of trying to redo the
Brontosaurus lung
Miami case when a deal had already been struck. The leniency of the original plea deal, the secrecy surrounding it, and the powerful figures involved have since become central to a wave of conspiracy theories, many of which question whether Epstein was protected by a broader network of elites. Epstein's early career offers the first glimpse into the improbable rise that would later define his life. Born in the Coney Island neighborhood of Brooklyn in 1953 to working-class parents, Epstein dropped out of university.
Yeah, you got it, Chad. It's a watermelon.
Without earning a degree.
On a stick.
Despite this, he landed a job teaching math and physics at the elite Dalton School in Manhattan in the early 1970s. There, he caught the attention of a parent, Alan Greenberg, the chairman of Bear Stearns, who helped him secure an entry-level position at the investment bank after he lost his teaching job in 1976. Epstein rose rapidly, becoming a partner within 4 years, an unusually fast ascent, especially for someone with no formal financial training. But just 1 year after making partner, his career at Bear Stearns came to an abrupt end. According to the New York Times, Epstein told the SEC during an insider trading investigation that he had been let go for 3 reasons. He had lent money to a friend to buy stock, there were irregularities with his expense account, and there were rumors of an affair with a secretary. Though never charged with wrongdoing, the episode marked the beginning of a pattern. Epstein's ability to gain access to elite institutions and powerful people, often without the credentials or transparency typically required. After leaving Bear Stearns, Epstein launched his own firm, Intercontinental Assets Group, which claimed to specialize in recovering
Minecraft watermelon on a stick? Oh, because it's square?
Stolen or embezzled funds. By the late 1980s, he had formed J. Epstein and Company, the investment firm that would become the claimed source of his wealth and elite connections. Epstein announced at the time that he only accepted accounts worth over $1 billion. It's worth noting that there were fewer than 500 billionaires worldwide at the time, making his supposed client base extraordinarily exclusive. In reality, it would appear that Epstein had only one major client, Les Wexner, the billionaire founder of L Brands. For more than a decade, Epstein served as Wexner's personal money manager and advisor.
I'm sorry, L Brands? Is that what it is? L Brands? Anybody know what that is?
Reportedly earning hundreds of millions of dollars in the process. Their relationship was unusually close, so much that Wexner transferred ownership of a 70...
I subscribe to say it's very gross watching you eat. Very gross. Well, I'm responding to let you know that I don't care at all.
$7 million Manhattan mansion to Epstein's Virgin Islands-based company for no recorded payment. According to the New York Times, a 2002 corporate filing revealed that Epstein's asset management firm had just $88 million in shareholder contributions.
But goddamn, I didn't expect it to be that like juicy. Like that was a little bit it's a little bit too juicy for a watermelon on a stick.
And around 20 employees, far fewer than the 150 claimed in media profiles at the time. The contradictions between Epstein's public image and the limited evidence of his financial operations only deepen the mystery of the true source of his wealth. In 1987, Jeffrey Epstein was hired as a high-paid consultant by Stephen Hoffenberg, then CEO of Towers Financial Corporation.
Okay,
a Manhattan.
I'm still waiting for the dry humor. You're the reason I'm on Uber Eats app right now searching for watermelon. Is it easy to get like in the US? There's actually like a ton of places here specifically for fruit, right? That's like a genre of like restaurant that you can find out here. And yeah, when I say fruit, I don't just mean like, you know, you buy a bunch of oranges. I'm talking about like cut up and like ready to eat. Like this, chat. Oh wait, did you think that was gross? Watch. Oh no. What's going on with this? Oh, chat, it's a whole bag of mango. These are supposed to be turmeric mango. I'm a little bit upset. These are actually, some of these are ripe mangoes. The idea with this kind of mango is you eat it when it's not quite ripe. And it's crunchy and it's sour and it's delicious. But yeah, I guess I'll eat a ripe mango too. I've been having some subpar watermelon compared to yours next 10 minutes. You know what I need to get? I need to get those yellow watermelons. One in chat if you've ever had a yellow watermelon. Anybody ever tried this? Watermelons come in yellow. And they're fucking delicious. Like, well, I gotta say, like, I would prefer a yellow watermelon to a red watermelon any day. Having a subpar watermelon. You know, I've noticed that too. Yeah, the watermelon out here, at least in season, are really, really good, right? In the US, it's like, it's hit or miss. It's really hit or miss. Like half of the time you cut into a watermelon and it's mushy and I can't stand that. Here you can find a mushy watermelon occasionally, but most of the time it's, you know, if you go to a convenience store, right, and if you buy a watermelon at a convenience store, it might be mushy. But if you buy it from a fruit place where they cut it up, it's good. It's good. 7-Eleven has it with tagine. Wait, what is the tagine? Like is that the sugar, salt, hot pepper mix?
Debt collection.
My turtle loves watermelon. I probably looked like your turtle eating watermelon. That's why I grossed out that shorts chatter. Like they were, dude, I ruined that person's day, chat, just by eating watermelon. But yeah, it was juicy. I mean, I can understand if you're grossed out by somebody eating a drippy fruit, then yeah, that probably grossed you out pretty bad. Used to see yellow watermelon in a Whole Foods when I was a kid. Haven't been to one in a long time though. I haven't had yellow watermelon, but I learned about black watermelon. What? Wait, is the inside black or is the someone recommended I look them up? It looks like a bowling ball. So wait, it's the flesh of the watermelon is black? Is that what I'm hearing? You know you've made it when you've got new chatters coming in every day saying that every time they tune in, you're eating. I mean, I am guilty.
Agency that would later be exposed as the operator of one of the largest Ponzi schemes in the US.
I've got to wash my hands, chat. As gross as I'm willing to be in eating a watermelon that's dripping all over the place, I can't take sticky hands. So I'm gonna do something about that.
Hoffenberg paid Epstein $25,000 a month and set him up with an office, describing him as his wingman and closest friend during that period. Together, the two men attempted high-profile corporate takeovers, including failed bids for Pan Am and Emery Air Freight. But behind the scenes, Towers Financial was raising more than $400 million by selling fraudulent bonds and promissory notes to investors. This money was used not to fund legitimate operations, but to pay off earlier investors, cover operating costs, and finance lavish lifestyles, including private jets, luxury homes, and expensive cars. Hoffenberg later claimed that Epstein was the mastermind behind the scheme's financial engineering, describing him as the architect of both the insurance bond fraud and a...
Loverboy Chad says, I just stumbled on this live and now I've discovered black watermelon exists. I know, I thought I was smart with my yellow watermelon, but apparently I haven't tried shit. There's black watermelon? That's wild.
Stock manipulations.
What's next? Blue watermelon? Oh, I would eat the fuck out of a blue watermelon, chat. You put me in front of a blue watermelon, I'm gonna eat like a kilo of that.
Strategy. Court records and attorneys involved in the case confirmed that Epstein's name appeared on organizational charts and that he held a senior role at the firm.
Okay, so I totally told you this guy is great for his dry wit. Haven't noticed any yet. In this one, it's a pretty dry description of Epstein's finances. I didn't know about black watermelon until just last week. Yeah, that's wild.
Yet despite his proximity to the fraud, Epstein was never charged. This episode is one of the most glaring examples of Epstein's ability.
It's called a ruby watermelon?
To operate in elite financial circles while avoiding legal consequences, even when his business partner was convicted and spent 18 years in prison. While Les Wexner is the only confirmed long-term client of...
Okay, so that's Lex Wexner. Yeah, I would call it a goth watermelon. That's a pretty good name for it. I keep on hearing this name, Les Wexner. I know he's a billionaire. I don't know much more about him. I think I heard Hassan speculate that maybe he had a sexual relationship with Epstein. Not sure about that one, but yeah, he's all over this discussion. So
Jeffrey Epstein's evidence suggests that he had financial dealings with several other wealthy individuals, though the nature and scope of these relationships remains murky. Beyond Wexner, the New York Times reports that Epstein briefly served as co-trustee for Johnson & Johnson heiress Elizabeth Johnson, appearing on deeds for 14 parcels of land.
Wait, sorry, which Johnson is she? Is she Johnson 1 or Johnson 2? Yeah, can somebody explain Johnson & Johnson to me? Were there like two business partners and they were both named Johnson, but they weren't related? Is that the... Like, why is it called... you hear this all your life. Why is it... I don't understand. Why is it called... is it Les Wexner or Lex Wexner? I don't know. I'm trying to give him a supervillain name, I guess. I'm trying to make him into Lex Luthor.
Dutchess County, New York, before resigning in 1998. Epstein also had ties with Leon Black, the billionaire co-founder of Apollo Global.
Oh, that's why he's involved. He's the Victoria's Secret guy. It's just Johnson twice, but like, who were the original Johnson & Johnson?
Management. Black is reported to have paid Epstein $158 million in fees, which he claims were for things like tax advice and estate planning. It's somewhat surprising that Jeffrey Epstein, a man with no obvious tax experience, would get hired as a tax advisor by someone like Leon Black, who you would imagine has access to the best tax lawyers in the world. On top of that, tax lawyers don't typically charge $158 million.
Ah, okay. So here's a theory. I don't know if this is where he's going, but I'm just imagining maybe these payments for Epstein's tax services are actually payments for something else. So could that be it? He gets some video on these people, and he is like, here's a picture of you with a underage person, and I'm going to release this. This is going to be in the papers tomorrow, unless you give me, $600,000. And then they agree, and he says, basically they make it look like he's helped them with their taxes, but it's really a bribe. It's really hush money. Do you think that's what is going on with this? I was away. Wait. Did he do any jokes yet? Not yet, SCP Ace. Not yet. I'm kind of surprised because, like, I've heard him go off before, and he's wickedly funny. And it's funny because it surprises you too, like, right? It's like he's got an assassin's wit when it comes to humor. But I don't know. Maybe it's because he's talking about Epstein. Maybe he feels like, okay, this is about child abuse. Let's not do any, let's not do any jokes. But yeah, so he's the Victoria's Secret guy. A lot of the models that Trump and, Epstein were with, I think may have come from Victoria's Secrets. I mean, not that I'm making them sound like merchandise, but they were models for Victoria's Secrets. That's what I was trying to say. This is why Adam West says, stay away from strangers. Yeah, basically. This is real stranger danger here. DC Golden Age. I think the money is for the service, for the tax. Do you think that he just gives really good tax advice? Like, you get your taxes done by Epstein and you're like, I've never had my taxes done better. Jeffrey Epstein, you're a goddamn genius. Or does he blackmail the IRS for it? Maybe that's it. Does he blackmail the IRS? Maybe he's got dirt on people in the IRS. I don't know. Imagine getting your taxes done and your accountant gives you a bill for like over 150 million. Is that what they said? I guess I exaggerated it. It wasn't 600 million, it's 150. Oh, 150. No, I under exaggerated it. I was saying 600,000. Damn.
Fees. Now, paying someone for tax advice in no way implicates you for their crimes. I don't tend to shout it from the rooftops that years ago I hired the Boston Strangler to teach me how to play tennis. I had no idea.
Did your tennis game improve though? That's what I would want to know. Like, I could understand going to a Strangler if he's got better tennis tips than other coaches.
He was up to in his spare time, and I thought that he got that nickname because he held onto his racket so tightly. The FT.
There we go. That's his humor. That's his humor. There it is, right there. I was under the impression that he was called the Strangler because he held his racket too tight. Beautiful, beautiful. We're pretty vassalized over here. Oh, in Norway. Isn't it like second to Denmark as far as like the happiest people in the world live in Norway, or Norway has the highest happiness rating? I only go to Stranglers for good music. Like, I feel like I would go to a Strangler if they had good fruit, right? Can you imagine that though? You're like, okay, this guy's definitely a Strangler, but also his yellow watermelon is like nobody. I've never tasted a watermelon like that. Like, this guy can grow some killer watermelon, but he is also a Strangler, so can separate the art from the Strangler. Yeah, pretty much. Les Wexner's mansion in Ohio reminded me of the French chateau built leading up to the French Revolution, but American-style architecture. You know, Trump's Oval Office, I feel like could aptly be called Versailles at this point.
21, that Leon Black attributes a sizable part of his family wealth to Jeffrey Epstein, saying that as much as $2 billion of his then $8 billion fortune could be traced back to Epstein's financial
So he helps you cheat on your taxes? Is that what he does?
acumen. Epstein allegedly also served as
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Stranglers, the band.
Mr. Black's advisor on issues like,
what is up with that? Like, what is this, like the like early 2000s? You had the Stranglers, the Killers, the Strokes.
management of his yacht and plane, and helped settle a dispute over the ownership of a valuable sculpture. Even after Epstein's 2008 conviction, Black continued the relationship. Later,
Doesn't that sound like a Seinfeld episode, though? Like it sounds exactly like something Larry David would write. Like, we're going to the Strangler for lemonade. He's got the vase. He may be a strangler, but this man serves the best lemonade you've ever tasted.
It as a belief in second chances. In October 2020, after new revelations of Mr. Black's payments to Epstein prompted a number of pension funds to freeze further investments with Apollo, Black hired a law firm to investigate his behavior. They found that he had done nothing wrong. Mr. Black has characterized himself as someone who believes in giving people second chances, according to the lawyer's report. That's in keeping with other relationships Mr. Black has maintained with convicted criminals like Martha Stewart, a known associate of Snoop Dogg's, who was convicted in 2004 of a somewhat less serious crime than Epstein was, where she was convicted of conspiracy, obstruction.
I feel like I got more shade for Snoop Dogg for being connected to Martha Stewart. Okay, I feel like that. Yeah, Martha Stewart, you know, makes me more suspicious. Like the fact that he was friends with her. Now, chat, they didn't actually meet in prison, right? We're not talking about Stone Ocean, right? Where, you know, male and female prisoners, like, you know, run into each other and you get to keep your wardrobe. I don't know. Maybe that's how rich people prison is. Do you think? I've heard some things about rich people prison. Do you think it's co-ed? Like, if you're rich and you go to jail, do you go to co-ed jail? Like, do they serve you caviar? Can you get good fruit in prison? Chat, that's what we got to do. We got to make me really rich, okay? Super rich, so that if I ever go to prison, it's not going to be alligator Alcatraz. It's going to be like a really nice prison. It's going to be like the best prison. And yeah, I'll get to train Muay Thai there, right? That's the kind. Oh my god, chat. Walking on the beaches and looking at the peaches. But yeah, this is the whole thing. Is like, people don't realize, like, Martha Stewart is actually the original gangster.
And 2 counts of lying to federal investigators about a stock trade. According to CNN, in 2023, Leon Black agreed to pay the Virgin Islands government $62.5 million, and in exchange, the government released Black from any current and future legal claims related to Jeffrey Epstein. According to a 2019 Vanity Fair article by William Cohen, Epstein's relationship with the hedge fund manager Glenn Dubin is a case study in how Epstein's social life interacted with his business. Cohen explains in the article that the 2 men were first introduced by Dubin's wife, a former Miss Sweden, and ex-girlfriend of Epstein's. Despite this awkward history, Epstein became deeply embedded in the Dubin family's life, reportedly even serving as godfather to their children, a claim that Dubin's representatives later denied. This friendship later translated into financial ties. Epstein allegedly received a fee for helping broker the sale of Dubin's hedge fund to JP Morgan Chase and invested hundreds of millions of dollars in funds run by Dubin's protégés. These transactions show how Epstein leveraged personal.
I wonder if Martha Stewart was a cool cellmate. I mean, she seems like the type that would probably she'd probably pour water all over your clothes so that you're late to breakfast, and then she'd go for seconds on breakfast before you got down there, so that by the time you were down there, all the breakfast was gone. Right? She seems like the type that would do that. I feel like if I was in prison with Martha Stewart, I'd be worried about that. Right? I'm going to sacrifice myself to give the details of rich people prison. What a sacrifice. What a real, yeah, I know, playing golf all day. And, there's probably a beach there too, right? Miss Sweden introduced people to Epstein. Ghislaine was extremely jealous of the girls Epstein found attractive. She was incredibly cruel. Is that why she was so mean to them?
Relationships to gain financial access and legitimacy, often without scrutiny of his background or the origins of his wealth. The article suggests that Epstein's social credibility allowed him to operate in elite financial circles despite the mystery about his wealth. Dubin's role in introducing Epstein to other fund managers and the subsequent large investments Epstein made in their funds show how Epstein's social network directly facilitated his financial dealings. Yet when Epstein's crimes resurfaced in 2019, the Dubins allegedly distanced themselves from him, claiming ignorance of his crimes. Epstein's name also appears in connection with a small emissions control company called Environmental Solutions Worldwide, in which he invested alongside individuals close to Leon Black. This company was the only one for which Epstein's firm ever filed an SEC disclosure. These scattered and often informal relationships, many involving vast sums of money but little documentation, underscore the mystery of Epstein's financial life. He operated in elite financial circles, moved hundreds of millions of dollars, and advised billionaires, all while leaving behind almost no public record. In 2019, Les Wexner accused Jeffrey Epstein of misappropriating more than $46 million while managing his personal finances. In a letter to members of his charitable foundation, Wexner disclosed that he had recovered some of the funds and had severed ties with Epstein in 2007, around the time that Epstein first faced allegations in Florida. Wexner had granted Epstein sweeping financial authority, including power of attorney over his assets. That same year, a lawsuit filed against Epstein's estate alleged that he had used underage women not only for abuse, but also as a means to ingratiate himself with powerful individuals so that he could gather compromising information for blackmail. These accusations suggest that a portion of Epstein's fortune may have been built not only on financial misconduct, but also on the strategic exploitation of his business associates. The Epstein scandal has evolved far beyond the realm of documented facts. Andrew Prokop at Vox writes that it's become the mother of all conspiracy theories because it is something to captivate just about every political subculture. For some, he writes, it's a Me Too story of unchecked abuse by a powerful man. For others, a MAGA-fueled tale of liberal elites' depravity. The resistance sees it as a potential Trump scandal, while those suspicious of the deep state fixate on cover-ups and the possible involvement of intelligence agencies. Anti-Semites focus on Epstein's Jewish identity. The scandal's ambiguity and the elite circles Epstein moved in have made it fertile ground for conspiracy theories of every ideological stripe. MAGA loyalists have shown a remarkable ability to compartmentalize this scandal, obsessing over Epstein's ties to Democrats while ignoring Donald Trump's well-documented 15-year-long friendship with him. Trump's appointment of loyalists like Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino to top law enforcement roles only intensified the speculation. Their attempts to steer the narrative seem to have backfired on them, fueling outrage from the conservative base and internal finger-pointing. Democrats have their own awkward history with Epstein. Bill Clinton's post-presidency friendship with Epstein, including multiple flights on his private jet, became a liability the moment the allegations first surfaced in the late 2000s. At the time, Hillary Clinton was viewed as the party's future, so there was no desire to dwell on the Epstein scandal. It wasn't until Trump's team mishandled the scandal with their awkward attempts to change the subject that Democrats began to engage, as they could now see the Epstein scandal as a Trump scandal. It has now resulted in a frenzy of interest that Trump hasn't been able to escape.
Look, yeah, as far as like the left and the Epstein thing, there's a big division between people who have connections or friendships with the Democratic Party establishment and those who do not, right? All those people that are hooked in with the the Democratic Party leadership, they're strangely quiet, or even sometimes they'll make statements like, well, Trump built up all these conspiracy theories that we know aren't true, but he's kind of getting hoisted on his own petard here, right? That's the most you'll ever hear them say. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about this as a Trump scandal, but it's like more so if you're not worried about it becoming a Clinton scandal, because if they actually open up, the files, you're gonna see Republicans and Democrats in there, and some of us welcome that, right? I feel like the the Democrats that you'd see, like I don't want there's a lot of people in the Democratic Party leadership, like it's frankly needs to be cleared out, and also on top of that, if these people are guilty or if they're even associated with Epstein, that's a great reason. That's a great reason. Clinton flew his plane at least 25 times. That flew the Lolita Express. Yeah, and Trump's on those logs too. The difference between Trump and Clinton may be the amount of people that are like, there are the amount of times that they went down to like Little St. James. But regardless, like I don't give a fuck. Like, right, I'm not scared of losing some of. Well, who is it? Nancy Pelosi's daughter said something about like, we're gonna, open up those Epstein files, and some of our faves are gonna be in there, but yeah, maybe some of your faves will be in there, Chelsea.
Among the more shadowy conspiracy theories is the claim that Epstein was connected to Israeli intelligence. These allegations gained renewed interest in 2023 when the formerly conservative commentator Tucker Carlson, who became radicalized last year while visiting a Russian supermarket, began publicly speculating about a Mossad-Epstein connection during a speech to Turning Point USA, claiming that every single person in Washington, D.C. believes that theory. The theory suggests that Epstein may have operated a blackmail scheme on behalf of Israeli intelligence, using underage women to entrap powerful individuals. A 2021 Rolling Stone article cited Stephen Hoffenberg, Epstein's former business.
Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, and Alan Dershowitz aren't Republicans. I think Alan is now. Alan may not have been. I do remember like my dad talking about Alan Dershowitz as being this like wide-eyed hippie or something, right? And what was he involved in, chat? Did he defend the Chicago 8 or something? Like at some point he was very like left-wing coded, right? When he was younger, I guess. But yeah, no, he's definitely
associate and convicted Ponzi schemer who claimed Epstein had ties to intelligence circles. While no concrete evidence has emerged to support these claims, their persistence underscores the vacuum of transparency that continues to surround Epstein's life and death.
Wait, Epstein did a V shoujo? Wait, what?
The most persistent claims about Jeffrey Epstein is that he secretly recorded his guests in the private rooms of his house. In a 2019 interview, one of his victims said that she had seen hidden cameras in the guest bedrooms and bathrooms of his Manhattan townhouse, with live feeds being monitored by staff in a dedicated surveillance room. These allegations have fueled speculation that Epstein used surveillance footage to gather compromising material on powerful individuals, possibly for leverage or blackmail. When Trump's law enforcement appointees, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino, announced that they were reviewing all available evidence, including digital files and surveillance.
He was part of the OJ team. He was accused of scamming charity. Wait, Dersh was?
Surveillance footage. It briefly raised hopes that law
defended the actor who played the lead male role in the movie Deep Throat. Sorry, the actual NSFW movie or the movie about the Nixon revelations? It's like, honestly, yeah. I've never seen the porn of Deep Throat. Never trust a hippie. Hey, never trust a boomer.
Long-sought answers might emerge, but they're
just kidding. There's some cool boomers out there.
Abrupt reversal declaring that there was nothing to see.
We call them based boomers. No Epstein, hence doing a V shoujo? Wait, what?
Only deepened public suspicion and intensified theories of a cover-up. The Epstein files are alleged.
RC Stan, I know you're excited about JD Vance getting into office if Trump. I'm assuming you're saying if Trump is impeached, but do not spam in the chat. If you say it 3 times, you will be banned.
Made up of over 300 gigabytes of data, paper, video, and photographs, and audio. Pam Bondi publicly stated that she was reviewing these files in February, just 17 days after her confirmation as Attorney General. That's quite a lot of video footage to go through, but it would appear that she did this as a few days ago she was...
I don't know how much of a hippie he was. Well, look, he reminds... Like, I've seen pictures of him with the, like the leather elbow patches, which... I think that's like professor code for like hello fellow kids or something. You ever had a professor with the patches on their elbows, the leather patches?
Supposed to speak at a summit against human trafficking where unfortunately this announcement was made.
I do have a note from the Attorney General, from Attorney General Pam Bondi, that I wanted to share. I'm sorry to miss all of my CPAC friends today. Unfortunately, I am recovering from a recently torn cornea, which is preventing me from being with you.
Now, I don't know what caused this reported eye damage, but I feel that if I spent the last 6 months reviewing bathroom camera footage from Epstein's house, where Trump was frequently a guest, I think I would damage my eyes too.
I can think of some other ways that you might get eye damage, or at the very least eye irritation in the Trump White House, right? You might have to ask Laura Loomer about that, though, to 100% confirm it, chat.
Based on the horrified expression on
oh my God, see, he's got some
Kash Patel's face, it would appear that
he saw Pam Bondi getting the eye damage, right? He walked into the wrong He walked into the wrong room, right? He's like, whoa!
He's been going through the footage too. The horrors that man must have seen.
He does like the Brett Cooper style editing.
For almost 20 years, beginning in the late 1980s, Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein maintained a close friendship.
Wait, it's written near Jim Morrison's grave, what, in Paris? Never trust a hippie?
They were regulars at each other's homes.
Lots of pink eye in the administration, yeah. It's no joke, chat. It's no joke. That stuff burns.
Epstein at Trump's Mar-a-Lago.
Not that I would know.
And Trump at Epstein's Manhattan mansion. It's no surprise to hear that Trump's name turns up in any investigation of Epstein simply because they spent so much time together.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Okay, wait. Okay, that's what you're saying. Okay, according to the video, Les Wexner accused Epstein of mishandling $500 million for a charity. Veach Shoujo was recently accused of mishandling $500,000 that had been donated to Iron Mouse. Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah, because Iron Mouse has like autoimmune issues and was doing that charity for the Immunodeficiency Foundation. I haven't looked at, should we cover Iron Mouse, chat? One in chat if you're interested in the Iron Mouse situation. One in chat if you'd like me to cover VTubers from time to time.
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
The Wall Street Journal has reported that Attorney General Pam Bondi warned Trump back in May that his name was in the files multiple times. But who knows? If Epstein did keep a list, maybe he kept multiple lists. There might be a really bad list filled with 1970s children's entertainers.
Who is that? Don't tell me that's like the voice of Yogi Bear or something. Like, who is that guy? Anybody recognize him? 1970s children's entertainers. Who could that even be? That's Roger Stone? Are you serious? That's Jimmy Savile? Wait, what did Jimmy Savile? What was he, like, what did he do? What was his show? For some reason, I always get Jimmy Savile mixed up with some wrestling dude who also got accused of, diddling, with specifically with WWE ring boys. Don't look him up. It's that bad that I don't want to look him up. It's Jimmy Savile. He was a beloved children's entertainer and a fucking monster. Radio and TV host. It does look like Roger Stone. It does look. You had me. Whoever said Roger Stone, you fucking had me. I was ready to believe you. I was like, yeah, that's definitely Roger Stone there. Everything British is for like 4 decades. Oh, the shows, yeah.
Who did terrible things, and then maybe a list titled People Who Are Really Into MILFs with Trump and Macron's name on it. Who knows? In a 2002 interview with New York Magazine,
a disgusting abuser of women and children, he had his own private wing of the hospital where he had full availability of patients. So like random patients would be housed in this wing and he would just be able to go in there and do whatever. Never looked him up, but I heard, I don't know how I recognized his face. You don't get him confused if you watch that documentary about him? Just don't even make sense. Well, there's some other Jimmy guy or something like that. There's some scandal in the WWE when I was gonna do a video about wrestling at some point. I think it was right after my Kid Bandit interview. I wanted to put out a video, like a video essay on wrestling, but I never got finished with it. Best friend of Prince Philip and Prince Charles. Ooh. Friends with the royals. Okay. He's also associated with a serial killer. Was it a strangler?
Trump likely regrets today. Trump famously said, I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. Epstein reportedly believed himself to be Trump's closest friend and claims that he introduced Trump to his most recent wife. According to the Washington Post, their friendship soured in 2004 over a Palm Beach real estate deal. Both men were competing to buy a property in Palm Beach, which Epstein wanted to live in, while Trump wanted to fix it up and resell it. Epstein at first had the upper hand, as the seller liked that he would keep it as it was.
So he's giving the actual explanation for why Trump cut ties with Epstein here, right? Trump will claim that it was because of he got a report of him doing something creepy at Mar-a-Lago, but this is the real reason.
They didn't like that Trump would bedazzle it with gold ornaments and make it tacky like his other property.
Wait, New York Times had a story about his ranch having an underground eugenics lab? Are you talking about the Zorro Ranch? Let's Go Darwin? Epstein's Zorro Ranch in New Mexico? Wrong Boy scandal in the WWF was horrible too. Yeah, who was that? Who messed with the ring boys in the WWF? But yeah, there was just like, there's so much fucking lore behind wrestling, right? And especially Vince McMahon. That guy is, obviously horrible. There's a doco on Jimmy Savile by Louis Theroux. He does do some good work, doesn't he? Always heard that Melania met Melania through Epstein. There are allegations about that going on, yeah. A strangler, Yorkshire strangler, Savile and the serial both enjoy biting their victims? Damn. Everything about what Trump said on Epstein on the record is telling. Imagine what incriminating stuff he says off the record. This is the thing about Trump, right? People call him the Teflon Don sometimes because he's had nothing but scandals, both before and after he ran for president, right? And nothing sticks. And people hypothesize that part of the reason is that when Trump does something sus, he does it without trying to hide it. He doesn't cover it up. He just does it out in the open, like his crypto shit, right? You can literally bribe the president of the United States by buying his shitcoin. You can literally put money in the president's pocket by buying his shitcoin, right? Some of the recent court cases against CBS, right? There's no actual case there. No lawyer in their right mind would tell you to settle that case because Trump doesn't have a case. And yet you see CBS settling it anyway, specifically to get better treatment by Trump when they attempt their merger with Skydance. Or sorry, that's not CBS. What am I thinking? CBS, Paramount. Yeah, Skydance, right? Shit doesn't stick to the Teflon Don, but if you scrape the surface, it'll all flake off. Yeah, and it'll give you cancer. Allegedly.
According to the Washington Post, on the day of the auction, Epstein's attorney tried to disqualify Trump from bidding, telling the auctioneer that Trump didn't meet the requirements of a bankruptcy auction, as he would only buy the property with title insurance, which this property wouldn't be sold with. Epstein and his lawyer, it appears, were unaware that Trump was listening in on speakerphone. Trump eventually won the auction, paying $41 million for the property. According to the records, Trump left 2 messages for Epstein later that month, and that was their last proven contact. Trump has since claimed, without providing detail or proof, that he banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago. Epstein had never been a member of Mar-a-Lago. He had always just been there as a guest.
Such a liar. Such an obvious fucking liar. That's the other thing. He lies out in the open too. And he lies so much that it strains belief, right? All the shit that Donald Trump does, all the shit that he lies about, it's the kind of stuff that it sounds made up. And so it's really easy for Trump supporters to just be like, yeah, that's the liberal media. Don't you know? Don't you know that the media hates Trump? And it's wild because, chat, the media doesn't hate John McCain. The media didn't hate George W. Bush. The media doesn't hate Mitt Romney, all right? It's just Donald Trump. And the reason that perception exists is because he's done so much fucked up shit that if the media even reports on a fraction of Trump's scandals, it sounds like they're constantly shit-talking him, but they're just reporting the news. And sometimes they don't. A lot of stories die on the vine. A lot of Trump's related stories die on the vine because they're just like, you know what? We're CNN. we're already regarded as an ultra liberal network, despite the fact that we are in no way on the left. And so let's just not report this one. Let's just let's look the other way. Look the other way. Trump gets off of so much shit from shit like that.
Yes, of Trump.
Yeah, he also fucks Satan. That's his biggest scandal, though. That's the one he's not beating. All right. We didn't know, chat, that Trump was secretly Saddam Hussein reincarnated through Trish Paytas's vagina, right? But now we know it's the truth. He's so cartoony. That's his defense. Yeah, pretty much. But at some point, chat, he will be hoisted, and it will be on his own petard. CNN is centrist at best. I feel like their ownership is actually right-wing now.
Epstein's brother, Mark, on the other hand, has offered a different version of events. Mark Epstein claims that in an unaired interview conducted by Steve Bannon in 2019, Jeffrey Epstein said that he distanced himself from Trump after realizing that Trump was a crook. Mark Epstein
That's wild.
Allegedly viewed the clip online before the link to it expired, and he said that his brother had forwarded it to him shortly before his death. These conflicting accounts, Trump's vague claims of a falling out, and Epstein's alleged private remarks have only added to the intrigue and the conspiracy theories. Their relationship, once openly friendly, now sits at the center of competing narratives, each shaped by political expediency and the enduring mystery of Epstein's influence. So was Epstein a good investor? Well, his investment record, at least the parts that are public, reveals a mix of sharp bets, catastrophic losses, and the occasional eyebrow-raising real estate deal. On the losing side, Epstein owned Bear Stearns stock for decades after working there and remained heavily invested in it until it collapsed in 2008. According to a lawsuit he later filed, he held around 176,000 shares, worth nearly $18 million in August 2007. He sold 56,000 shares at $101 in 2007, but as the firm collapsed in March 2008, he offloaded the remaining 120,000 shares in a fire sale, 20,000 at $35 and the rest at just $3.04. He lost the even greater sum of $50 million in one of Bear's funds that invested in credit derivatives and collapsed in 2007, marking the start of the global financial crisis. Then there's
Rob,
the curious case of the Manhattan real estate discount. In 2011, Epstein sold a property adjacent to his infamous townhouse to Cantor Fitzgerald CEO Howard Lutnick at a 65% discount to what he had paid for it just 2 years earlier. This is especially surprising as New York real estate prices rose 6% over that holding period. Lutnick famously held a fundraiser for Hillary Clinton at that home in 2015 when
She does know how to take a bad picture. I feel like that's a skill for a politician, right? Trying to at least not do a Hillary Clinton face or a Kash Patel face, right? There's plenty of examples of politicians that give you plenty of, like, look, if Hillary Clinton was a YouTuber and I was like in a beef with her, I mean, it'd be so easy, Chad. There's so many pictures of Hillary Clinton just looking like a absolute freak show.
Running against Donald Trump. While Lutnick denies any personal relationship with Epstein, the deal has prompted speculation. After all, it's not every day that someone picks up prime Manhattan.
So yeah, Lutnick, Acosta, Bill Barr, there's plenty of associations between Trump officials and Epstein.
Real estate at clearance sale price.
Pam Bondi? Hello? Wait, was it Pam Bondi? Was she the AG of Florida? In the 2017 case?
On the winning side of the ledger, Epstein made a lucrative investment in Valar Ventures, a fund co-founded by Peter Thiel. The fund, which focuses on early-stage financial companies, has returned an average of 15.5% per year over the last decade. Epstein's stake, acquired around 2015 or 2016, has since grown to be worth around $170 million, making it the largest remaining asset in his estate. The investment had not been publicly disclosed until recently, adding yet another layer of mystery to Epstein's financial dealings. So where did all of the money go? Well, just 2 days before his death, Jeffrey Epstein signed a document transferring all of his assets into a private entity known as the 1953 Trust, named presumably after the year of his birth. This move ensured that the identities of his beneficiaries and the distribution of his wealth would remain shielded from public view. For Epstein's victims, it created a legal labyrinth. Accessing financial disclosures required court approval. Over time, the trust absorbed everything: properties, cash, investments, and valuables. More than $164 million has since been paid out to victims through a compensation fund financed in part by the sale of Epstein's properties, including the islands, the Manhattan townhouse, and his plane. But those settlements all came with strings attached. Recipients were required to sign broad releases waiving their right to bring future claims against the estate or individuals connected to it. The remaining assets, estimated to exceed $200 million, are likely to benefit a much smaller circle. The only known beneficiaries of the trust are a former girlfriend of Epstein's and 2 of his longtime advisors, who also serve as co-executors of the estate. According to a confidential financial document reviewed by the New York Times, Epstein intended for $19 million in personal loans that he had made to be forgiven, including loans to entities closely associated.
If only I had borrowed money for college from Jeffrey Epstein instead of from the U.S. Department of Education. If only, Chad, if only.
Associated with the beneficiaries of his trust. The value of the estate has fluctuated over the years. At one point, an executor predicted that it would shrink to under $40 million after claims were paid out, but a $111.6 million tax refund from the IRS in late 2024 dramatically changed the picture. I guess maybe Epstein was better with taxes than I had thought. As of March this year, the estate reported assets of $131 million, including $50 million in cash. This figure, however, doesn't reflect the current value of Epstein's investment in Peter Thiel's fintech fund, which is being recorded at its cost basis and remains locked up due to venture capital restrictions. That investment alone is estimated to be worth $170 million, making it the estate's largest remaining asset. One major federal civil lawsuit against the estate remains pending, filed on behalf of victims who haven't yet settled with the estate. Once resolved, any remaining funds will be distributed according to the terms of Epstein's will, terms that remain sealed within the 1953 Trust. The true source of Jeffrey Epstein's wealth is shrouded in secrecy and death.
Omega Star, did you? I think you just. I don't know why you're not getting the alerts not going off, but did you just re-up your membership on YouTube?
As it was in life. Despite years of investigations, lawsuits, and media scrutiny, the financial machinery that powered his lifestyle remains largely unaccounted for, hidden behind legal agreements, secretive trusts, and a network of powerful associates. The recent rumors that Donald Trump might even pardon Ghislaine Maxwell have only added fuel to the fire, suggesting that the scandals surrounding Jeffrey Epstein are far from exhausted.
Oh, that's why I didn't see it. It was on Shorts.
With key figures still staying silent,
well, thank you.
Documents still sealed, and new headlines emerging every day. The conspiracy theories surrounding Jeffrey Epstein are unlikely to fade. If anything, they've likely become a permanent feature of the overall scandal, filling the void left by unanswered questions and institutional failures. If you found this video interesting, you should watch my video on the Trump-Musk blow-up next.
Yeah. Well, look, it was something, right? The financial aspect of Epstein is not going to be the kind of sensational. It's not going to be as sensational about the stories about his crimes and his associations, but it's I guess good to look at anyway. Chat, this video got almost 1 million views. It's been out for 2 days now. This video, chat, that I was barely able to pay attention to somehow blew up, but anyway, nonetheless, let's move on. Okay, so I told you I was gonna give you some Vinny. Vinny is one of the co-hosts of Valuetainment. This is Patrick Bet David here, chat. Now, he may not look like much, but trust me, you're about to be valuetained. Now, this guy, we do know where he made his money, and I definitely shouldn't say that it's a Ponzi scheme or anything like that. I should describe it as a multi-leveled affair of sorts, but as far as we know, not breaking any laws. So not a Ponzi scheme, but the other kind of maybe the other kind of pyramid. Anyway, he ripped off a bunch of people. He used the money to make himself a vanity podcast, and that podcast took off because the right wing has no fucking taste, right? They're just like, yeah, this guy's saying Trump good, I'm gonna watch him, right? And you're gonna watch him, and he's gonna potentially scam you. So anyway, valuetained. If you'd like to be, I think valuetained means that you get entertained while Patrick Bet David is exploiting you for money. I think that's what the real meaning of valuetainment is. Nonetheless, he's a funny man. He is, and he's surrounded by other funny men. And one of those funny men is a guy named Vinny. Vinny, you might remember when he debated Hassan Piker on Piers Morgan, he was the guy that was popping a vein and his face was turning red because he was so mad. He was so mad at Hassan. He was bursting at the seams, all right? And look, that's not, I mean, he's just a funny guy, right? So I've put together what I think are going to be some enjoyable Vinny clips. I've heard this guy's going off, and I've heard that he is off the Trump train completely. Some of these right-wing influencers are, most of them are not. Most of them know where their bread is buttered, and they know that if there's any chance that Trump's going to survive this scandal, they best not get off the Trump train, or else he will, get his revenge on them.
Voting that they did last night, the results of it. So the Rules Committee voted 149 motion by McGovern to make in order.
God damn, this was 12 days ago.
Amendment 50, which this was in regards to the files to be preserved and release any records related to Jeffrey Epstein. 5-7, they lost.
What?
And the people that said yes were all liberals, except for one Republican. And the people that said nay were all Republicans. Tom, why would Republicans not want to release all the records on Jeffrey Epstein?
Because he's got as much leverage on members of the Republican Party as Epstein had on his clients, okay? Because none of the Republicans like Trump. Fox News does not like Trump, right? Trump came through, and, while the Republicans had been cultivating an anti-intellectual base for years and years and years, because it's really easy to con people like that. Like, just basically encouraging them to distrust experts, to distrust, academics, to distrust science, and to only believe what they were saying. And then Trump was able to come along and just kind of steal the space out from under them, right? So the neocons that created this, intellectually unwashed mass that is the Republican voting base then lost that voting base to Trump because he was able to manipulate them better. And because of this, it is known that if you go against Trump, you will be run out of town, electorally speaking. And that's proven true. So yeah, basically it's a hostage situation. Trump is holding the Republican Party hostage. Some of them like him. All right. I'm not going to try to lie to you and say that like they're all, chafing under the yoke of Donald Trump, but some of them very much are, and they're afraid to say anything. And so even if they disagree with them, even if they think that voting against releasing this might have negative electoral consequences, they're more afraid of Trump than they are of their own voters, because their own voters have had their brains sucked out through their ears. Anyway.
This is now really, really, really bothering me. This vote last night, I asked this question. Why wouldn't all of these people, because this is what people talked about during the election, during the campaign. And by the way, during some of their campaigns too, it's not just the president, it was other people about re-elect me, send me back to Washington, and I will make sure they're JFK, MLK, Epstein.
Wait, Hannity? Yeah, Hannity definitely loves Trump more than Tucker does.
Files are released. Some of these people, I want to find some of these people that were conservatives. They campaigned on that, And Ro Khanna, who's been on this podcast, puts a motion out and says, "Okay, folks, I'll tell you what. Let's all vote on it. Do we put a motion in place that says you should preserve and release the information?" That's all Ro Khanna was doing there, and it's just shocking. Who's protecting who? Because this is
I'm glad that he said he put protect the information in there too.
Like a clear-cut, statement here. Oh, if he has something, we're not going to compel him in this forum to push it out.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying, and that bothers me. This really bothers me when I'm told, don't look at anything, nothing to see here.
I have a position that I'm wondering, Tom,
on this vote, these votes are bothersome.
That's what I was wondering. I'm trying to think strategy. That's all I'm thinking about right now. I'm trying to think strategy right now because it's one of two things. Either everybody there is there to protect the president, or everybody is taking this position because some sort of strategy. And I have some thoughts, but I want to go to Adam first.
Well,
Adam,
let me hear your thoughts.
Okay.
This is Adam Sosnick. If you're a viewer of mine, you'll recognize him from his appearance on Her Take, another Valuetainment podcast. This is the one with Anna Kasparian and Jillian Michaels on it. And yeah, they brought on Adam Sosnick as a guest one week, who apparently hates Anna's guts, right? He accused her of being too emotional, threw her a packet of tissues, and then when that didn't get that didn't succeed in triggering Anna Kasparian, he threw a tampon at her. Right? So Anna's definitely living her best life, 1 foot on the TYT side of things and 1 foot on the valuetainment side of things. She can go left, she can go right, she can go whatever way she wants to. But yeah, he's let her know that if she's going right, she's going to be treated like absolute dog shit. So yeah, there's Adam Sosnick. Now he's supposedly like the buttoned up, more responsible member of the podcast. It's kind of a wild thing considering that this guy literally throws tampons as a debate tactic, right? I've had some weird experiences in Twitch poll on shows like the Hippy Dippy and Prime Kai's Reverie, in terms of, some strange people saying weird stuff, doing weird stuff, but I've never had anyone pull out a tampon on me. So that's a new one. That's a new one as far as debate tactics go.
In fact, I love that I literally just wrote, there's two things. Either Donald Trump is compromised, meaning they have...
Now here's Vinny. Yes. Yes, he's compromised.
Somebody else is saying, don't dare release it because we're on it.
Or there's another or.
Yeah.
Or there's another or. So let's go through all three ors.
They're using it?
So let's go through all three ors. So number one is Donald Trump's on it. Okay. All right. So let's say that's the one where he doesn't want to go through it. That's an easy one. If it's on there, it's on there. If it's not, it's not. If it's on there, prove it. But
It's been proven. It's been fucking proven. He's basically admitted it. Like there's a tape of him accidentally saying, like, you know, that he's on the fucking list. There are, you know, there's it's been confirmed. Wall Street Journal has confirmed this, right? He is on the list. Now, that doesn't mean that he diddled a minor, all right? That, you know, he's on the list because he is in Epstein's life enough to be pertinent in the court case. And, you know, there's probably other people that are on it too, but we know for sure that Donald Trump is.
My suspicion to think he's on there is so low because Obama would have had it.
Yep.
Biden would have had it. They would have done everything in their power.
But what if they're on it, Pat? But what if they're on
Let me make
It wouldn't be them on it. It'd be Bill Clinton.
And I'm gonna hear everybody's thoughts. So the second thing that to me is if Trump's on it, they would have used it. They would have destroyed him. They would have smashed him. They would have never let him get into the White House. Ever let him get to the White House. So that's one. Two. The Republicans don't want to release it because, you know, a lot of them are on there and, you know, a lot of the money people are.
You know, it could be something as simple as that there's 3 Republicans implicated in the files, and that if 3 of them had to resign, if the pressure built that they had to leave Congress, then they no longer have a majority. You'd potentially have Mike Johnson's job as House Speaker, and the majority, the Republican majority, would be in jeopardy. I mean, that's a possibility, right?
On there, so they don't want to release it because of whatever reason. Let's go to 3. You know, politics is super nasty, right? So just think about the game of politics. Play the game.
Okay.
Not as an outsider.
Yeah, that's right. Politics is nasty. Sometimes you got to throw a tampon.
We're not politicians. We're not in the game. You're a podcaster. You're giving opinions.
Yes.
You're giving your thoughts. You're giving your perspective.
Wait a minute. This guy's losing weight. Do you notice this? Vinny has lost weight. Is he on Ozempic?
You're not in the arena. You're not playing the game in the arena, right? You're not.
We're spectators.
We're spectators in the game of politics.
Yes.
We're spectators in the game of politics. Okay. But not go inside, okay, and play the game of politics. When you wake up in the morning and you have ambitions of moving up in politics, not if you wake up in the morning like, I'm just going to do my job and that's what I'm going to do and what is the reports I need to look at to respond. No, that's a person that's just being a congressman or a senator. I'm talking about you are super ambitious. Man, one day I want to be that president, vice president, House of Rep. I want to be Speaker of the House. You're super ambitious, right? Nothing wrong with the way you're there. What is the first thing you look for when you wake up in the morning? Controversy on your opponent to call their asses out, okay? You're looking for any fumble you look for to call them out. Any fumble to look for to call them out, right? Doesn't matter what it is. Boom. Like Newsom's the best at it. First thing in the morning he wakes up, forget about what's going on in California. The first thing he looks at is, did Trump have a fumble? Did DeSantis have a fumble? Did Nashville, Tennessee have a fumble? Did Texas have a fumble? Let me call their asses out. Why is he doing that?
Because they've been doing that to him for fucking 5 years. Come on, that's an easy answer with Newsom, all right?
Trying to be number one. He wants to be a president, okay? In the last 6 months, President Trump hasn't had a bigger fumble than this one. What has Clinton said about it?
0.
What has Hillary Clinton said about it?
0.
What's Biden said about it?
Nothing.
How about Jill? How about Barack? How about Michelle? How about Schumer?
Oh, Barack actually has. I think he mentioned the Epstein files in his when Tulsi Gabbard proposed a investigation of Obama, and Trump tried to make the investigation of some real weird stuff going on with the Trump campaign look like something dirty on the Obama side of things. Obama did respond to that, and he did, mention the files. So, Obama has. But, you're right. Clinton's been silent. The Bidens have been silent. Like I said, the Democratic institution has been largely silent. Now, Chad, there's 2 possible reasons for this. And I'm going to say that it's probably different depending on the Democratic establishment figure that you're talking about. One possibility is they are still playing the James Carville, Chuck Schumer game where they don't want to make any waves. They don't want to be seen as Trump's opposition. because they feel like, he's too popular and they're too unpopular, right? So they're playing dead, right? So it could be that. It could be that, like, and there's maybe some wisdom to that too, right? If Republicans can pin the accusations, the Epstein accusations on a Democrat, then they can all rally behind Trump and be like, hey, this is fake news, right? This is the same thing that they did when the Wall Street Journal article came out, right? But that's not even a right-wing thing. That's a Rupert Murdoch paper. But because it's media, he's able to say Lügenpresse. He's able to say the fake news media, folks. I mean, Hitler would have said Lügenpresse. Trump says fake news media. It's pretty much the same thing. It's a very easy chord for him to hit. So maybe there's some wisdom in the Democrats not allowing, as long as MAGA is holding Trump accountable, the Democrats don't have to say shit. All right. It's more credible that Trump's up to no good, that Trump's acting suspicious if it's coming from a right winger, like we're maybe about to get from Vinny here.
Why haven't they said anything about it? This is an easy opportunity to do one of these things.
100%.
You think Obama's going to get a let her chance like that go? You think Clinton's Hillary? You think Hillary's going to let her chance go?
Crickets.
Can I ask why they haven't said anything? Why haven't you said anything? Is it because you're such a...
It's probably because Bill Clinton was on the island. All right? That's probably why.
And you're so noble, and it's not the proper thing to do because we're not the president today, and we're not like other people that go after the prior administration. I mean, Obama went after Bush. Obama went after Bush.
Obama did not go after Bush. Obama said, we're going to look forward. We're not going to look backwards. There's a lot illegal, frankly, that George W. Bush did in the prosecution of the war on terror. Obama did not investigate that. That was a huge mistake. That was a huge L for Democrats, right? Like, the Obama administration and its failures, granted that it's obviously better than the Bush administration or what McCain or Romney would have done, right? Their failures are very much responsible for Trump's ascension in 2016, right? It's not that Trump is some kind of juggernaut, like once in a lifetime politician. It's that the Democrats insist on running the most hateable figures that you could imagine, right? They've got a seniority. They've got a hierarchy in the Democratic Party. And the people at the top of that hierarchy aren't there because they're good politicians. They're there because the Peter Principle. They veiled their way up, right? And yet, like, these are the only people that the Democratic Party will trust. They're too afraid that if they give the keys to Bernie, if they give the keys to AOC, that they're going to take them into, FDR territory. And they don't want to be that anymore, right? The Democratic Party is essentially, it's a vanity project for rich people, right? The vanity project of creating a legacy for yourself without doing any meaningful policy, right? When you're talking about politicians winning, when you're talking about parties winning, you should be looking at policy. The end goal of politics is policy, right? Making laws, changing the game, changing how things work. And the Democrats fail at that. They're not great at winning office. They're not great at getting in power, which is what they want. But they will specifically nerf their own policy because they don't believe in their own side. The Democratic establishment is fundamentally conservative. They don't believe in progressive values. They will run on them, and then they will say, ooh, geez, I would have loved to fulfill my campaign promise, but guess what? Joe Lieberman came and he twisted my arm, and he said, we can't do a public option. We can't do Medicare for all, right? Oh, Joe Manchin came and he twisted my arm. I just couldn't help it, right? They love to do that kind of shit because that way they get the accolades from, the David Brookses of the world, the very serious people, and they don't they don't take what they perceive to be risks. And in actuality, the biggest risk of all for Democratic politicians to ever be successful again, the biggest risk of all is standing in the middle of the road like they're doing right now with Chuck Schumer and James Carville and the play dead sort of advice. So Yeah, it's a very frustrating thing. Like, if you are Team Democrat, your team is the Washington Generals, a team that was famously would be the perennial opponents of the Harlem Globetrotters, who the whole thing about the Globetrotters is they're supposed to win. It's sports entertainment, right? So the point of the Washington Generals is to lose. And if you don't lose, the times that you don't lose in the election, you're going to lose in policy. And that's what the Democrats are great at.
I've inherited this, I've inherited all of this. And how many times, half of the Americans who never knew, a majority of immigrants who came to America and didn't know what the word inherited meant, they did right after Obama became president because he used the word every flipping day. I inherited this from the Bush previous administration. And how come you're not going after him? Why not?
Oh, yeah, no, the country was totally fine after Bush. Yeah, we'd only wasted how many billions of dollars on a war on terror that didn't make us any safer, that actually made the world a more dangerous place? Yeah, no. Bush handed Obama a great world and, a fucking financial crisis that started before it started before the end of the election. Like, McCain and Obama both talked about the financial crisis because guess who was president when it happened? It was George W. Bush. But this guy wants you to forget all that. He's just going to do the Men in Black pen to you and erase your memory.
Rob, maybe I'm wrong, can you go on one of these ChatGPT or Groks and just kind of search it and say, can
you ask the magic internet machine to think for me, since I don't have the intellectual faculties to do it myself? Could you please do that? I also don't have the intellectual faculties to teach myself how to use ChatGPT, which, guess what? Here's a tip. You want to know how to use ChatGPT? Ask it. Open it up. Say, I'm new to this technology. Could you please tell me how to write a prompt, right? And it will do that. Like, that's one thing that ChatGPT is actually good at. Hey, Grok, is X true?
The biggest Democratic establishment voices said about the Epstein fumble President Trump had this past week. What has the biggest Democratic establishment voices have?
What has the biggest Democratic establishment voice said about? Okay, at least he's writing it more coherently than he's saying it.
Said it this week. Okay, let's just see what it says, and then we can specifically ask names. So Ro Khanna, but these are not the biggest ones.
No.
Go.
Van Hollen is getting there.
Nobody knows those names. No, I'm saying ask.
You don't know politics. You're a politics show. You should know Chris Van Hollen. You should know Ro Khanna. You've had Ro Khanna on, and Chris Van Hollen is more relevant than he's ever been. Honestly, like, he was responsible for the, oh my God, he was responsible for the for essentially going to El Salvador.
Specifically,
like Bill Clinton,
like figures like what about Clinton's, Obama's, Biden's, Schumer,
Pelosi's?
The
Pelosi.
Like I said, they're probably right on some of these people. Like, their explanation for why Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton aren't talking about this checks out. For other people, I do think it is that they are giving the Trump administration rope and hoping that they will do what Epstein supposedly did with that rope.
Pelosi's, those types of names. That's the establishment.
I think Nancy did say something. I think she said something bad.
Let's see here. Clinton's hasn't publicly commented on it.
I've been on vacation.
Why
I didn't
wouldn't
have good
you?
coverage.
Okay, but his past 7 visiting the White House 17 times and flying on Epstein Island in early 2000. Epstein went to the White House 17 times? Damn.
Oh, yeah.
Hillary Clinton has remained largely silent on the latest development. Okay, Obama's hasn't had any public reaction to Trump's Epstein. However, Trump's strategy of blaming Obama Clinton for scandal shows how he's deflecting responsibility. Biden hasn't issued anything, but Democrats in Congress, no, I'm not talking about Democrats. Schumer has amplified the issue supporting demand for Epstein records and using conjunction. Okay, so that's one. Speaker Pelosi hasn't spoken about the recent fumble, but has historically led efforts to transparency. Okay, and this is ChatGPT. ChatGPT is generally going to be leaning a little bit to the left, right?
your brain must live in 2011 if you think that the tech establishment is on the side of the left. You are using very old information. You are going off of very old information, PBD.
Right? Why haven't they? Why aren't they saying anything? Why are they quiet?
I low-key hate this, right? That dipshits like Patrick Bet-David that failed to do their research ahead of time can just, like, you know, let's ask ChatGPT, you know? And that there's enough dumbasses out there to be like, oh no, this is really, that's what you do. You ask ChatGPT, you know, that's, you know, yeah.
Quiet, you know, and so that leads me to think a guy sends me a message. I think Trump is playing 4D chess and all this other stuff. He's telling me this stuff. Okay, let's give that a little bit of credence. The fact that maybe they have so much intel that they're using this against them. Could it be? Could it be the fact that Obama's, Clinton's, all these guys are so quiet about this Epstein issue? They haven't said anything. They're just watching it from the outside. You're seeing Republicans fight each other. This is a perfect opportunity to jump in and say something.
PBD, you're a fucking ass clown. You're so stupid. No, it's not. If your enemy is fighting, you do, like, A, let them fight, B, jump in and give your opinion, right? Jump in and make it your issue. Like, associate yourself with skepticism about Trump's explanations for the Epstein files, right? In other words, give them somebody to rally against. No, that's not what you do. That's not what you do. Now, like I said, chat, there are probably Democrats, there are probably establishment Democrats that know that some of their faves are going to be implicated, right? That's what Nancy Pelosi's daughter said about the situation. You know, all the while saying we need to have the courage to, you know, to look at these files, to subpoena this stuff, to, you know, to, right? But yeah, for the it's just like he's jumping to conclude. Anyway, I'd like me saying that PBD is not the brain genius that he thinks he is like me saying the sky is blue. There's no real revelation in that. That's, you know, a very very dog bites man kind of story there.
This is a very good opportunity to jump in and say something. You're not saying anything. Why aren't you saying anything? You're never been known for being noble.
Yeah. Maybe she doesn't have ChatGPT. Maybe she doesn't know how to prompt ChatGPT like you do.
Rahm Emanuel, who helped you with the elections when you were in Chicago and you were going to Schwartzman, hoping to get his support, and Rahm Emanuel and Schwartzman had a fight in that hotel room, you know, the event that took place, whether it was a hotel room or a conference. Rahm Emanuel never let a crisis go to waste. Never. This is a crisis. You guys are letting it go to waste. Why are you letting it go to waste? I don't know. I don't know why you're letting it go to waste. I'm just curious. It's a value. It's a worthy question to ask
Very
to
valid.
see what's going on there.
And it's crazy that you brought up. It's like, think about that. Jeffrey Epstein visited the White House under Clinton 17 times. And do you guys remember, little fun fact, Mark Middleton, you remember who he was, Rob? Remember that guy? Special assistant to Bill Clinton? He's the guy that signed him on 7 times, signed him on to come see the president, come see the White House. And that's the same guy that suicided himself